Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. This is the fan show where we'll be talking to fans all around the world about the huge game in the club's history that is coming around on Wednesday evening in Bilbao, 8 p.m. kickoff as Tottenham Hotspur take on Manchester United in the Europa League Final 2025. Now, we're live on YouTube, live on X and Facebook. Please do get involved. And if you'd like to appear on a future episode of the fan show, please do get in touch. It is tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. In this episode, we'll be talking to a number of Spurs fans ahead of this huge game on Wednesday evening. I've got Craig Dearman back with me. Craig, how are you?
I'm all good. Yeah, it's come around quick, isn't it? It really has, and just looking forward to it now. I'm actually not getting too excited just yet. I'm sure that will come on Wednesday, but I'm just trying to enjoy this build up and watching clips online and just doing shows like this. I think we decided to do it because we thought it'd be a good thing and get all Spurs fans out their opinion of how they're feeling. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good one tonight.
Craig, it's been very different because, of course, the Premier League season has been really, really poor. We're sitting in 17th spot, one game to go. But we've got to kind of park that, haven't we? We've got to park the Premier League form because we are 90 minutes away from glory. We're 90 minutes away from lifting our first trophy in 17 years, our first European trophy in 41 years. And not only could Captain Heung-min Son lift that trophy in Bilbao on Wednesday, but he could also be lifting and parading that trophy down the high road in a few days' time. And not only that, we could be playing Champions League football next season. It's 90 minutes away.
Yeah, there's a lot of not only that's there. It's so much at stake. Absolutely, but it is. It's so true. It's I've said before, it's all or nothing, isn't it? Wednesday.
Yeah.
The loser of this tie, my God, it's going to change how your summer goes, how your aspects of the future of your club's going to go, whether it be Tottenham or Manchester United. Obviously, we hope it's Tottenham. It just opens so many more doors if we win on Wednesday, and it just relaxes us all. You're back eating at the top table. For not only for games but for players and money and everything is on the line. Everything is on the line Wednesday. Dare I say, it's more than just a game of football. I know people don't want to hear that, with the money and everything, but when you think about it, it's huge. It's probably bigger in many ways than the Champions League final. Yes, I'm not talking the silverware. Obviously, the Champions League is the elite, but I'm talking about what's at stake. We already had Champions League football guaranteed in 2019 for the 2020-2021 season. 2019-20 season. So
yeah,
this is different to me. It's got a different feel about it altogether. So yeah, it's weird. I've obviously been watching a lot online, and a guy, I can't remember his name, I think it was Ben Bauman on TikTok said, and I thought, God, do you know what? I totally agree. He said it feels totally different to the Champions League because of the way we got there. Do you know what I mean? There was elements of luck along the way. And when we got there, and I get what he means when he said this, that I think there was an element of the fan base that just felt privileged to be there, and it was just a job done to get to the final. And what an achievement. This just feels different. This just feels different to me. That we got a real chance. I'm not saying we didn't have a huge chance against Liverpool. We should have beaten them really on the night, but this just feels different.
Yeah, talking about excitement, I tell you what, it was last weekend. I actually downloaded and printed the boarding passes, and that's when I thought, oh my God, this is happening. Can't wait. I'm actually flying out early hours of Monday morning, so really looking forward to it. Now, we have a packed green room at the moment, so if you are trying to get in and you can't at the moment, please do try shortly, because I did expect a very, very busy fan show today. It's funny and weird because the Crystal Palace home game, we couldn't get anyone to talk about Tottenham. But the Europa League games have been very, very different this season. Craig, when we talk about the Europa League campaign this season, I tell you what, I felt very proud of Spurs in the two legs against Frankfurt, particularly that away game. And that felt like a turning point for me. As soon as we won that game, I started to really believe that we were going to go all the way in this competition and lift the trophy. And the Bodo Glimt game, both at home and away, I thought that, top quality performances from Spurs. I know a lot of people are dissing the Europa League and the quality of the Europa League this season. And just before we do go to our first guest, what do you make of Arsene Wenger's comments stating that the winners of the Europa League should not get that Champions League spot because the rules are the rules?
Oh, yeah, he should just keep his nose out, really, to be honest with you. Of course, it heightens the competition. It heightens the importance of the competition. Yes, it's important to win a trophy, but to get that extra thing to get into the Champions League, I think it would devalue the competition if you took that away now.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't agree with Wenger. He should, just stop talking. I was going to say something else rather rude, which is not like me, as you know. So I think you should just stop talking and yeah. How do you? What I should say to everybody in the green room: once you've come on, there are a load of people trying to get in. So once you've been on, if you can leave the stream, in essence, I think there should be a button that says leave studio. It just allows more people to come on, and then you can watch the rest on YouTube. I think it's just important because we will have a lot of people. So yeah, Chris, how do you feel quickly before we go to the first guest? I know you said you've downloaded your tickets and packed your smalls in a suitcase. And are you nervous now?
Do you know what? I haven't actually thought about the game itself. I think that's going to hit me on Wednesday. But the fact that we are in a final after a very, very poor and dismal season, I feel like, we're 90 minutes away from glory. And as I kept saying this whole campaign, whenever I've done any of these media interviews as well, the fact that, these players, do they want to be remembered for finishing 17th in the Premier League and having such a poor season? We've broken so many unwanted records this season. They can be heroes. Ange touched on it, and I think some of the players, Brennan Johnson, I think they mentioned it as well about having the pictures on the wall, if we were winners. Honestly, Craig, it's such a massive opportunity for the football club. This is absolutely huge. And as you've just mentioned there about, the winners going through to the Champions League, it's either going to be no European football next year or be playing in the Champions League, fast tracking our way there. And then the future of the football club can be very, very different. But as far as feeling excited, there's a lot of excitement in me right now. But I'm sure the closer to kick off, I'll start feeling, a little bit nervous, anxious and all of that. But, anything can happen in the final, but just take the opportunity, please. These players have got to grab their opportunities. And, as I've said, year by year, I just want to see, players like Heung-min Son parading down that high road with a trophy. It would be absolutely magical. Craig, before we do go to our first guest, I'm just going to tell everyone about a brand new app. It's called Match Bingo. If you take a listen to this, and hopefully you will buy a bingo ticket ahead of the Europa League final on Wednesday. Hi everyone, before we get into it, I'd just like to tell you about a brand new app. It's called Match Bingo. You can play along with live sports and Spurs matches, and you could win cash prizes. Watch your card fill up in real time whilst watching Tottenham. Make sure that you get your bingo card for our next game. Click on the link in the description or via the QR code. Real sports, real bingo, great prizes. Enjoy. Now, as I always say when I play the advert, in every single Spurs game, it is always eventful. There is always so much going on. I've got a number of stats to read out throughout this fan show. One of them, I was going to say now, there has never been a sending off in a Europa League final. That's an interesting one.
Prime for Bissouma or Romero, isn't it?
No, please no, please no. Right, we're going to bring our first guest on. We're going to go and we're going to start with Gary Maloney. Gary, good evening. How are you?
Oh, good. I didn't expect to be on first. Thanks for that. How are you?
We've got you on first because you have told Craig and I from the very off at the start of the season, you said to me, Chris, book your flight to Bilbao. We're going all the way to the final and we're winning it. Are you still standing by it?
Oh, 1,000,000%. Honestly, I mean, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but listen, partly because of the new rules, the new system, no teams dropping out of the Champions League, into Europa League or the UEFA or the Cup Winners' Cup. We call it so many names, Chris, didn't we? But
you do.
Yeah. But on a serious note, it was always going to happen. It was always going to be, us in the final. It was always going to be against Man United. And Chris, it's funny actually because I was going through the diary of all my bookings, and my wife goes, "Look what you wrote there, babe." And I wrote Spurs 2, Man United 0, Europa League final. And I couldn't even tell you how many months ago I wrote that. But Chris, I've dreamt it. I felt it. It's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be a great game, but we are going to win. Son's going to lift that trophy. He's going to end his career at Tottenham. Probably this year will be his last year. And he'll win it. And it really is going to happen, Chris. And that's why I said to you and the boys, look, book your Villa flights, get your tickets, because this is the year for Spurs. And it's quite, it's so funny because it's kind of typical Tottenham when we're all having these podcasts over the last few months. And, there was fans like me and others saying, listen, I'll take 17th and winning Europa League. I mean, that was ingested as a joke. I didn't actually think we'd finish 17th. But ultimately, Chris, I've said all season, it's been two different things, the Premier League and the Europa League. I said after the Southampton game, we're not going to win another Premier League game. And we're not. Even when we win Europa League, Chris, we're not going to win that last home game against Brighton. But guess what? No one's going to care. No one is going to care. And I know people are nervous and they're like, oh, it's typical Spursy and, it's typical Tottenham to have beaten Man U 3 times and then lose. We're not losing to Man U, Chris. On Wednesday, we're beating them. And listen, I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather a very poor Man United team than to have City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, or any of those sides in the final. And that's why I knew on May the 21st we'll do it. And Chris, I'm actually, you know what? People talk about Son and stuff like that. I think I'm going to be more happy for you than anyone, mate. Because, you talk about Son needs to do it, needs to win and, and everything else. But, mate, at least he's going first class. I've seen some of the journeys and trips you've had to do. I've been on some of them. If anyone deserves to see us win that trophy on May the 21st, it's you, mate. And I know you're going to be in your spanky villa, which you got for next to nothing, because you booked it 6 months ago. And good luck to you, mate.
I didn't book it 6 months ago. I wasn't that confident then, I'll tell you that.
Was you not?
When we played the likes of Galatasaray away, I thought, Gary's saying we're going to win the Europa League. You're having a laugh. And you know what? I try and be positive all the time, but I also try and be realistic as well.
Yeah, no, listen, look, I get it. And I know why a lot of fans are frustrated with Ange. And look, I know, come Wednesday night when we win it, everyone's going to be, on cloud nine. It's going to be absolutely amazing. 1984 was the last time. It's going to be, people, grown men, women, whatever. We're all going to be in tears. We're going to be crying. I know we are. The Haribos are going to be out. We're going to be celebrating. But ultimately, come the end of the season, Ange will part his separate ways, and we'll be standing it. We'll be looking back at our season, saying, "What a great season!" But we finished 17th. There is going to be that side of it. But I'll just touch on what you were saying to Craig. I mean, the words of Arsene Wenger and, all the Arsenal fans at the moment, this is all because they are absolutely petrified. They're like, oh, my God, Tottenham are going to win this trophy that we haven't ever been able to win. Let's get it right. They've never won it. They've tried to win it. They got spanked by Chelsea, and we're going to win it on Wednesday. And the fact that we've been so poor and rubbish in the league kind of makes it better for me. I'm kind of glad we've had such poor Premier League performance. I know for you, Chris, it's been horrible because you've been going to Villa away and Liverpool away and stuff like that. But I think it kind of just rubs salt in the wounds of all the rival fans for me. So it's going to be a great night. And do you know what? We deserve it. The fans deserve it. All the guys on the podcast, all the guys that listen to you and watch you and subscribe. We all need this and deserve it, And one other thing I'll say, when we lost that Champions League final 2019 and in the Carabao Cup, I was, like you, Chris and Craig and everyone, I was absolutely devastated. But for me, I think when we do win this on Wednesday, it's going to be as big as if we had won the Champions League for me. I can't see any difference between the Champions League and this. For me, this is a massive European trophy. And I think when we do win it on Wednesday, it's just going to be absolutely amazing, and I think we deserve to win it. The way that we're going to parade the trophy, the way the fans are going to love it and enjoy it. You think at full time you'll be in Bilbao, when when that drops, and then Craig, you'll be with me in the stadium when that drops, and then Can't Smile Without You comes on. It's going to be absolutely epic, and it's nothing more than what we deserve, mate, because it's been a rough few years.
That's going to be emotional. If Can't Smile Without You, I don't tear up easily, but I think that'll be one for me. Well, Gary, firstly, thanks for giving us your time coming on, because I know you've got a new baby in the house and all that. So you know, it's been
a tough 4 months with little Poppy, but I'm getting there. You know.
There's a comment here from.
Hold on a minute. Many congratulations, Gary. I didn't think this was going to be public knowledge, so I'm surprised.
That's fine, Chris. That's no problems.
I didn't know whether to say anything or not publicly.
Hang on, Craig. Shall I come out with it now or not?
up to you, mate. Up to you, mate. I think it's probably if you want to. This is your news, so you know.
Well, Chris, I don't know if you saw earlier. I was watching, the final day at White Hart Lane. Obviously, that hour-long video, which is, it's getting you in the mood for Wednesday, isn't it? I was watching that, and then not known to me, I got a little 4-year-old little baby, bless her, Aoife, in the video. Just a baby we're having overnight, helping out family, stuff like that. Of course, it went on to the Spurs WhatsApp group, got a few comments, and then I thought, just say it's my baby, as you do. So I changed her name. I said it was ours, and then Darren Altman video called me straight away. Craig messaged me, and they were like,
this was after I spoke to you, Chris, by the way. This was after I spoke to you.
Yeah.
Saying, that's amazing news about Gary.
To be honest, the wife's had a baby in that, but I said, it's bigger news Tottenham getting to a final. So that's really why I've not mentioned it. Anyway, Craig got me back because he said his missus went out and got a congratulation card and stuff. And then I was like, oh, no. But anyway, that's what it is for all your listeners and viewers. There is no baby. There is, but it's not mine.
Right. So who's the only person who didn't send you a congratulations message?
You, because you knew.
There you are.
Yeah, I thought, but you know what? How are you guys believing this? But
it was so funny. But I got him back.
Yeah, proper. Listen.
Picture of a Spurs baby grow, and I said my wife had gone out and get it. She's got to take it back and get her money back from Tesco's.
Yeah. And then I forwarded the message on to the missus. She went mad saying, I got to see her on Wednesday. I'm going to look like a right idiot.
It's brilliant. Anyway, look, back to the important stuff. Not that babies aren't important, and I've lost the comment now. King Hoddle said, this is a very good point, Gary. It's the first final for a long time we aren't facing a better side. I think that's probably important, isn't it?
Massively.
Because obviously we faced Liverpool. They were better than us 2019. We knew that. And we've, the other finals we've played.
Man City were all over us in the Carabao final.
Absolutely. So I suppose it comes back to what we were saying. We've got a real chance, haven't we? We've got a massive chance. Big up King Hoddle because he's always in the live chat and stuff. So I always see his comments. So come on, you Spurs, King Hoddle. Listen, look, the Champions League final, I wouldn't say Liverpool were miles ahead of us in that final, but it started terribly for us. That handball, which isn't a handball after literally a minute or so, kind of was a sucker punch. We never really recovered from that. The Man City final, it was night and day. I can remember like Harry Winks in midfield, sideward, backward passes. I think at one stage Harry Kane was having a row with him on the pitch. It was so frustrating. How we only lost that game 1-0, I don't know. But forward into Wednesday and to Man United, let's get it right. This isn't an Alex Ferguson Man United. This is a very, very poor Man United. Now, it doesn't mean we can't give them the respect because they're still Man United, right? They've got a little bit more experience in finals than us and la-di-da-di-da and everything. But let me tell you this now, right? You are going to be shocked how quiet the likes of Fernandes and all the others, I don't even want to mention their names. Even Maguire's not going to have a great game. We're going to get to the end of that game, and you mark my words, we're going to look back at that final and we'll say, what was we worried about? But we're going to be worried because we're Spurs fans, right? We've comfortably done them 3 times. All right, the 4-3 in the cup was a bit, we were strolling and almost it looked like it could be a draw. But definitely the other 2 games were pretty comfortable, right? Especially at Old Trafford. Let's not forget in lockdown, they're still proper football games. They're still ref, they're still VAR. We went up there and spanked them 6-1. If we could get any team in the final at the moment, other than your obvious teams that are below us, I think, Man United's a good side to play. Looking at it now, I was a bit like, when they went through against Lyon, I was thinking, I really wanted Bilbao. But actually, looking at it, I think probably it's better to have Man United than Bilbao, Bilbao being the host and stuff. I think having Man United in the final will suit us perfectly. And, come full time when we've won it in 90 minutes, it's just going to be the relief, But obviously, we're Spurs. We're going to be worried. We're going to be nervous. But I've been getting, like Chris does, everyone knows we're Tottenham. Whether I'm in the gym, walking down the road, online, social media, I bet you're nervous. You've done them 3 times already. It's typical Spursy. But
I'm looking and feeling about this very differently. You know, I don't go into a lot of finals very confident, but I do generally think we'll turn up, and I do really think, like what Chris touched on, you know, Son has to step up. You know, people, I get why people say, you know, oh, Son, I really feel for him. He's had it tough, but listen, you know, Son, you're a professional footballer. You're on a lot of money. Do the talking on the pitch on Wednesday, mate. Get us over the line as a captain and as a professional footballer, and lift that trophy, mate. You know, it's not a time on Wednesday night for the ifs and buts and to feel sorry for yourself. It's about going out there and showing Man United we are a superior team and bring it home. And that's it.
Yeah, we do definitely not want to hear Ange Postecoglou after this game saying we were not at the levels today, because like you say, Gary, every single player needs to give absolutely everything. Rich says here, wish I was as confident as Gary. Gary, before you go, give us a score prediction. Are you staying with your 2-0?
Yeah, I'm going to stay with 2-0. You know, I wrote that in there months ago. I knew it would be Man United. I was hoping it was buildup, but it's Man United. I think we'll beat them 2-0. It'll be in 90 minutes. And I think Son will score. I think probably Solanke will get the other, and we'll win it. And we'll be singing, you know, free from desire. The stadium will be mental. I'm sure we'll be trying to connect them, FaceTime you, Chris. And then, listen, it's all about the parade. You know, we do the parades, and finally we get that off our back. And there's no more memes. There's no more, the trophy cabinet. I mean, can you imagine how much money Levy's going to make on shirts and pictures of the trophy, Chris? It's going to be bonkers.
Gary, I love your confidence. How are you going to be feeling on Wednesday evening just before kickoff? Because you have been confident the whole way through. Are you still going to be like that? Or are you going to be anxious, nervous?
I'll be sick. I'll be suicidal. I'll be like biting my nails down. I'll feel awful. And I think come full-time whistle, I'm going to be in tears. I'm going to be jumping on Craig's shoulders. We're going to be singing, dancing. You know, everyone will be there. Darren, all the boys will be. People, and this is the thing about football, right? You know, obviously, Chris, you're well known on the podcast. Craig, you are. I am a little bit. But complete strangers that you don't even know, when it comes to football, when it comes to Tottenham, when it comes to Wednesday, when we win that trophy, are just going to be cuddling each other, crying. It's just going to be absolutely... I'm looking forward to just blazing music on the car way home, flags out, and just enjoying the fact that we got the monkey off our back. Come on, you Spurs.
Gary, thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing all of those videos from Wednesday night with you and Craig and Ricky Norwood and Darren Altman and co. Can't wait. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, take care, lads. See you later. Thanks for getting me on.
Cheers.
Right, we're now going to go to Jamie. Jamie, good evening. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm good, chaps. How are you, Chris and Craig?
Hi,
all
mate.
Good, thank you. How are you feeling ahead of this game, Jamie? Because, like you probably heard us just say there, you know, Champions League football, you know, such a huge game for Tottenham, isn't it? And you know, we haven't won a trophy in so long.
I know, mate. I'm so nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm trying not to think about it. And then I see your email this morning, and I thought I've got to get involved because everyone's going through the same thing, you know. And it's just get it off your chest and just get Wednesday and just get on with it, you know. It'd be massive.
Are you? Obviously, I said I'm not that nervous yet. Jamie, you said you're nervous. What is it about it you're nervous about? Just the game as a whole, or the fact it's Manchester United and they can turn it on and turn up, and or Spurs' recent history in finals? What are you most nervous about?
The history, mate. It's Spurs, isn't it? I think the last 4 finals, I think we've lost, haven't we? And every final, I thought we're going to lose, if I'm honest. But this one feels a bit different. I feel like we've generally got a chance in this, but it's just the history. But deep down, I've got a sneaky feeling, if I'm honest. But it's Tottenham, isn't it? It's just we never do things the easy way.
Jamie, it's fair to say, though, like I said earlier, in those games against Frankfurt, both at home and away, in the games against Bodo Glimt, home and away, I felt like Spurs were a different Spurs team to what we've seen in the Europa League. You know, many people could talk about the opposition or the quality of the competition, say what you want. And I feel like there's a lot of that narrative going on at the moment because Spurs are in the final. And like Craig and Gary said, you know, some Arsenal fans, for example, they're saying, well, you know, it's only the Europa League, you know, because we're in the final and there's a chance that we're going to win it. But Spurs have been a very different team in the Europa League. And of course, we've faced Manchester United 3 times this season. We've won all of those games. I know there's some people saying, yeah, but this is the game that really matters. And, it, you know, trust Spurs, it'll be the one that we lose. Who do you fear in this Manchester United team? Because, you know, like Gary said earlier, you know, it's very fair to say that this is nowhere near the team or nowhere near one of the teams that Sir Alex Ferguson had.
I know, I completely agree. If you go back to their 90 sides, I wouldn't have given us any chance, you know, going into this at all. But this is a bang average Man United team. But they'll be saying the same about us, to be fair. But the standout player has got to be Bruno Fernandes, isn't he? I think he's the one close to world-class player out of both sides, if I'm honest. If we can keep him quiet, I think we've got a real good chance. I know Casemiro's a big game player, but he's not the player he was. Maguire, actually, he does concern me in the air at set pieces, if I'm honest. I'd rather he weren't playing. I know they've got injuries at the back. But I'd like to think at one time maybe Son or Solanke could get one-on-one with him, you know, with the pace. But also Garnacho maybe coming off the bench. I know their manager don't really seem to rate him, but I actually, when we were linked with him in January, I would have took him. I thought he could be quite handy. The other one is it Diallo, the little winger? I see him against Man City away, I think, before Christmas or around Christmas. It was a while ago, and he scored 2, I think, right at the end, and he won the game single-handedly, if you like. But they're the only ones that really worry me. I think other than that, it's a bang average side. I think their goalkeeper's absolute crap. I think their centre forward, his second touch is a tackle. You know, I don't know. I think he'll be playing. Is it Højlund? I think he's terrible. I think a lot of them are shit. I've got to be honest, but they'll be saying the same about a few of our players. So,
yeah, do you find it surprising, Jamie? I don't know if you watched the video I did yesterday. Quoted Gary Neville, or was it today? I think it was today that Gary quoting Gary Neville saying that nobody in the United side other than Bruno Fernandes would get in the Spurs strongest 11. He thinks Bruno would, but nobody else would. And he's basically saying Spurs have got a stronger team than Manchester United, and he's worried. Would you agree with it?
I think he's got a point. I think, like with Bruno would walk in our side, he would. But I don't think our wingers are very strong. So I think he's playing it down a bit to make us go Spursy, if you like, in the final when the pressure's on. Like playing United as underdogs, I don't see it as that. I think it's 50-50, although they're a poor side with our history, you know, I think it evens it out a bit. They're more used to winning cups, but I think he's playing it down, if I'm honest. But like I said, I quite rate Garnacho, and Diallo looked quite good from what I've seen of him. But there ain't much. Casemiro, like I say, he's on his last legs, really. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's playing it down, mate.
Do you know what, Jamie? I completely agree with you. It is 50-50. Although Spurs have won 3 out of 3 this season, 2 in the Premier League, 1 in the League Cup, I feel like it is 50-50. And it's all about those players giving absolutely everything on the day. You know, we're 90 minutes away from glory, 90 minutes away from playing Champions League football next season. Who are the players that you really want to see step up in that final? Because it's very, very fair to say, and I think it's very telling as well. Lucas Bergvall, a player, you know, of course he's out injured, but a player that has only started 11 Premier League games, won all 3 Supporters Club awards this season. And, you know, we talk about, you know, some of the players having moments this season, but there hasn't been that consistency. But at the end of the day, you know, like I keep saying, these players can be heroes. We're 90 minutes away.
Oh, they can. I mean, if we win it, they become legends, don't they? Whether they've been average or not, they're legends. They get the trophy. We get what we've been craving for years. You know, what Gary said in the call before, I said exactly the same to my brother, jokingly. I said I'd take 17th and win win any cup, Carabao Cup, anything, just to get this record off our backs. You know, but the players I want to step up. I think Porro needs a big game, because I think with no Maddison and no Kulusevski, I think some of the creativity is going to come down to him. So like set pieces and that, I think he needs to have a big game, and also but not switch completely off with his defending, because that can be a problem, you know, with the space behind. I'd like to see Bentancur have a big game, because when he stepped up in Europe, I feel like we've stepped up. He sort of controlled the midfield, and in the league he hasn't been great when he has played, but I think he's done his job well, you know. He's showed a bit of leadership. obviously we need a big game from our captain as well. You know, I don't think Sonny's a captain, but he's got to. He's saying he wants a trophy and all this. Go out and prove it. You know, you've had enough chances. Harry Kane, I was really pleased for him the other night, you know, to win his trophy. But they have had their chances in a Spurs shirt to do it, and they haven't delivered. So, Son, come on, this is your show now.
Yeah.
Put money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Jamie, last question for you. Where are you watching the final? And give us a score prediction.
I knew he was going to ask me that. I'm watching it in the stadium with me girlfriend and my parents. I was trying to get out of Bilbao. I didn't have enough points. I knew I didn't anyway with my season ticket. So I was looking at even going out there for the day, getting a flight, and it was getting ridiculous. You know, every way I was trying to do it, the airlines, the accommodation, have covered it all.
Yeah.
My prediction. I always say we're going to lose, and we have done. So I'm going to say we're going to win. 2-1 Spurs. So to get the winner.
Brilliant. Love the positivity. And God, what a moment that would be for Sonny scoring the winner.
Sorry,
oh God,
what about you two? What was your prediction?
Go on, Chris.
I was going to say, I'm going to give my score prediction about 10 minutes before the game starts. What about you, Craig?
Oh, you're not allowed to do that.
Of course I am.
I think presenter's prerogative. I've been toying. I think we're going to concede, but I'm going to go 3-1 Tottenham. I think we're going to beat them. Yeah.
2-1 then, Jamie. I'll give you a score prediction. 2-1. 2-1. I think it'd be 1-1. And I don't know. I've just got this picture in my head of either like Son or Richarlison or, you know, or even a shot outside the box and it just goes in off, you know, Maguire's backside. And, you know, all I see in my head is just the scenes of the Spurs fans just going absolutely wild. Son, you know, every player holding that trophy. But, you know, those are dreams, aren't they? I just hope that it's going to be a reality on Wednesday.
100%.
Jamie, thanks as always for joining us. Have a great evening at the stadium, and we'll have you on again soon.
You too, guys. Come, you Spurs.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, Jamie.
Right, we're now going to go all the way over to the US. Hello, how are you?
Finally get to meet you two, Chris and Craig. I comment all the time. I try to keep it clean. Give you compliments, Craig, for all your adjectives and how they morphed through the season. So, yeah,
Thank you.
Glad to be on here finally.
Scott, great to have you here. How are you feeling ahead of this final? Because you probably heard us talk to Gary and Jamie there about the opposition, about our players stepping up. I'll give you a stat here as well. Ange Postecoglou, this is going to be his 100th competitive game in charge of Tottenham. Out of the 99 games that he's managed Spurs so far, 46 wins, 15 draws, 38 defeats, a win percentage record of 46.46%. And just to put that into context, Pochettino's win percent record at Spurs was 54.27. But this is a huge game, Scott, isn't it? How are you feeling ahead of it?
Oh, the sad thing is the Premier League games make me so flat for days afterward that I can't even wrap my head around that we're in a final. I mean, every game I've watched after a European game, was Crystal Palace even after a European game?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, Palace was, but the last one, God, who we just lose to? Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Actually, we looked better against Aston Villa. But anyway, it makes me flat because we've lost so many times. I cannot maintain my enthusiasm. I mean, European nights, I'm getting all excited. Yeah. In fact, last time I talked to Barnaby after the game, I was out in the sun, could barely see traffic going down my street. Man United guys saying how Spurs suck and that they're glad they have Spurs because we always lose and blah, 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 blah. You know, that was great being on there. But then the next time is like another loss. And then I flatten out. I don't have it. I'm like Craig and you too. You get pretty bummed out. Barnaby gets super bummed out. And then we're all bummed out. So
yeah.
Right now, I can't even wrap my head around that we have a final on Wednesday. Although I did take the day off. Don't tell my school because I'm
Craig, on that
my car fixed.
Craig, on that point, Scott's right because you know, talking about that Crystal Palace game, I think it was the sixth time that we had played at home after a European game. and we'd lost all 6 of the games after a European game on the Thursday. And Scott is absolutely right. You know, the Premier League games, you know, have been so poor, but yet when we played in Europe, it's like everyone's up for it again. You know, like the atmosphere and the way that every fan was inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Bodo Glimt. Incredible. It was like chalk and cheese from Premier League games to Europa League games. So different.
So doesn't that flatten you guys out? I mean, after those games, do you, like Craig, I mean, you asked him for a score prediction. He's like, I don't know, because he's probably still flat from Aston Villa loss. I mean,
it's weird. It's weird, Scott, because like Chris says, you know,
he's fine though, Scott, because he was at home. I went to the game. I got in at 4:30. I got in at 4:30 because in the morning because the road closed and I had to go all around houses to come back. It was an absolute nightmare. I tell you what, that makes it draining to see games like that, and especially when the away end was half full.
Gary's love is like, it must be all cured. I mean, that guy, he's already predicted the score. I feel like we're going to win. Now I just need a preseason date so my wife and I can fly to England and see their preseason. They haven't even given dates for the preseason games, have they?
We've got 2 out at the moment. We're going to be playing Arsenal in Hong Kong, and we'll be playing Bayern Munich in Munich on the 7th of August. So there's 2, but there's more to come. Sorry, Craig, I interrupted.
No, that's all right. You said, you know, driving home and everything. You know, I was up till you got in, give us 3 rings when you got in, make sure you got in all right. So, you know, come on.
Okay.
No, Scott, I'm guessing you're in Oregon because
you're Portland.
So you're several hours behind the UK. Said you take the day off work. Are you going to be spending the day watching with family or friends, other Spurs fans, or are you going to be hiding behind your sofa? What's your story? What are you going to be doing?
Well, the sad thing is, if I go to this bar, we have a good soccer bar, football bar, and all the Spurs fans were inside last time, and I couldn't get in there because it wasn't good Wi-Fi. I wanted to talk to Barnaby afterward, and so I was outside where all the Man United fans were. So I might want to go there, but man, oh man, I understand how you guys feel with the Arsenal rivalry. Those fans just like, you suck. And it's like, oh man, I didn't like that. I was just like totally like focused on the game because I didn't want to get into a shouting match with 3 guys. I mean, especially they were pouring it on that game in Bilbao. And
Scott, do you get that? It's funny you say that about the rivalry thing, right? Because I'm guessing in American sports like NFL, hockey, do you really get that tribal rivalry in other sports over there? You don't really, do you?
Well, Portland and Seattle have a huge rivalry. So they try to make it doesn't sound as intense as like Serbia. England has its own rivalries too. Millwall, Crystal Palace, I think, was a huge one. Us and Arsenal. But, you know, for me, it's like I can't even picture what that looks like. And that little bantering that was going on, I wasn't even bantering. I was just like kind of like, I don't want that because and that's the thing I love about Spurs. I mean, you go to all the games, Chris, so you know, but I don't sense that there's with Spurs fans. I feel like many Spurs fans, especially here in Portland, are just chill. They're relaxed. They don't go at people. I mean, the Arsenal guys that get in the chat room, I mean, you can sense them right off the bat. They're like Anjin forever and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how does anyone live their life like that? But I feel like Spurs aren't that way. I mean, you guys know better than I, but I just feel like the Spurs fans tend to be more civil. Is it true or not?
Not really. Not really. Not really.
Well, here in Portland, all Spurs fans are like pretty chill, relaxed.
Yeah, you need to come over and go to a couple of away games, Scott. I think you'll change your opinion.
Yeah,
let me ask you, Scott, if you could walk into the training room 15 minutes before the game, all of the players are sitting in front of you, what would you say to them?
Oh shit, I don't know. You know, it's funny because I don't think Ange does that. You've had a chat on here before. I don't think Ange does that kind of a talk. You know, they'll come out at halftime and everyone will say, "Oh, Ange probably gave him the big speech." They come out and concede a goal within like 5 minutes, and you're thinking, did he even talk to the players? I don't think he does. And so if I was talking to him, I'd probably be pretty lame. I'd probably be like, guys, what do you guys think? I don't know. I'd be pretty awful. But, you know, he's the coach. And I don't know. We all feel that passion. And I get a sense sometimes he's really detached from that passion because maybe he's been at so many different countries and clubs. He just seems detached from passion. So I don't know how I'd even do better than him.
He's spoken so often though, Scott, particularly recently on the media day, the press conference ahead of this game, about the players taking their opportunity, because like I keep saying, we're 90 minutes away from fast tracking our way to the Champions League, particularly after the poor league season that we've had. Haven't won a European trophy in 41 years, haven't won a domestic trophy in 17 years. I feel like whether it would be a fan, whether it be Ange Postecoglou, whoever it would be, saying to the players, 15 minutes before they go out, just go and do it. Make yourself proud, make everyone else proud, be a hero for this football club. It's got to be said, hasn't it?
Well, I think if us three were doing it, I think they'd all look at us and laugh. If Ange says something like that, I think it would work. Especially if he called, I don't know about Romero. I don't know what he's like as, volatility. Obviously, you see him tackle people like he's going to kill him. Son, I just don't know if he has that. If he gave a passionate plea with Ange, I think they would start the game well. I just don't think he really invites that. And I think that's been part of the problem with the team. I mean, I like what he says pregame, and I saw that pregame match. I don't even know when that was, a couple of days ago, and I feel like he's doing the right thing in those types of situations. But I think in game it disappears for some reason, and I don't know if it's because he feels like everyone's against him or what's going on.
Yeah. Craig, sorry, I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about leaders, because Scott mentioned there about Son. I feel like Son is a very easy target, and he has been an easy target this season, particularly when we've lost and the way that we've lost. But Son, he talks a lot to his teammates. He talks a lot more than some of the other so-called leaders, of our past history in the last couple of years. Players meant to be leaders, but they didn't talk half as much as what Son does. How important do you think that Son is going to be in this game, Craig? Because Son, if he does play, which I'm sure he will make his 68th appearance for the club in European competition, which will actually be a club record, overtaking Harry Kane.
That's incredible, isn't it? When you think of it like that, 68. I mean, didn't Kane overtake Defoe? And that was big news, wasn't it? And now Sonny's overtaken Kane. That's incredible. I think Son Son, you're right. Son's got a lot of criticism this season, and a lot of it unjustified. In fact, most of it's probably unjustified. But there has been games where Sonny has been non-existent and not put in a performance. I always worry a bit about Son, that the captaincy weighs heavily on him, and it might take something away from his game. I personally think if you took that away from him, you'd probably see more of the old Heung-min Son. I just think it does weigh on him, and it does weigh on him for South Korea as well. He's got the weight of a whole country on his shoulders when they go into tournaments. I know he's dealt with it, and he's had to deal with it for a decade, but I just think I just hope the other players help him out, and because I think it weighs heavily on him, like I say, and we need Sonny, a free-minded Sonny, in that final. Just go and do what you do. Even if you give us 45 minutes, hell for leather, go for everything, take players on, cut inside, have a shot, get a few crosses in the box. I'm convinced if we get a couple of goals up early against Manchester United, they are going to fall apart, because they know we've beaten them 3 times this season. It's if it goes on and on 60, 70 minutes and there's no goals, that's when I start to worry, because game changers from the bench, I'm not convinced we've got people that can come on and change the game, because of the creativity that's lacking in our squad at the moment, with the likes of Bergvall, Kulusevski, Maddison. I don't see massive game changers coming from the bench. There are players that are going to be there. Perhaps Odebeer brings you something a little bit different, but I just think we do need to start fast and get Sonny running at him quickly down that wing.
And I think that's the key. And I think that's, if he can drive that first 10 minutes, I think, and also be vocal. That's, maybe that's not really something that he's really known for, being vocal on the pitch. But if he drives at them like he did in that Aston Villa game, especially that cross at 40 minutes, I just felt like if Solanke was there, I think he would have dropped. Tell and Odebeer didn't really seem to know what he was going to do. And I was like, I think somebody should have dropped right there. And I think he's going to be our creative guy. He just looked up for it last game. And I think he could do the captaincy knowing that this is that game. Especially if he sees Harry in the audience and Harry's waving to him. Come on, Sonny. You can do it.
Harry's not going. He's away with the wife.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Sure.
He's already come out and said that he's going to be away with the wife, but he will be watching, and he wishes Tottenham luck. Scott, lastly, talking about watching the game, where will you be watching it, and who will you be watching it with? Because will you be watching it in the bar with Manchester United fans? Surely not.
I don't know. They're pretty intense, and again, we don't go through that very often here, but that one bar is probably the one place that I would watch it. And I mean, I have the day off, so I'm thinking about, I'll just go for it, huddle with my little Spurs clan, just have little shields. So in case people are starting to chuck bottles or whatever, we're safe. I think I should, because if I do this, I mean, I'm always in my room, always watching the game alone, yelling at the TV. I mean, I haven't really yelled the last few EPL games. So my dog, she's been happy. But whenever the word, my wife's like, oh my God, someone just said the Spurs. Did you see how she flinched? And it's like, it's a little sad. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to try to go to that bar and see what happens.
Scott, lastly, what's your score prediction?
You and your score predictions. Oh, I don't know. I think Van de Ven and Romero are going to do it. I think they're going to lock it down. I think it's going to be 2-0. And I think it'll give you an early-ish goal. It's hard to say. They come out so slow in many games. But I think it's going to be early-ish, first 20 minutes. And then they'll get one in the 70th, 80th minute. Don't know who either one will be. I think Solanke, 1 goal. Maybe Son the other, especially if he got the second and then we shut it down. That'd be so good for Son. I mean, it's a springboard into next season. Absolutely.
Yeah. What a moment it would be. Scott, have a great evening on Wednesday. And thanks so much for being a part of the show. And we'll talk to you soon.
It's a joy to be with you both. Have a great
Thank you so much.
See you.
Cheers.
Scott.
Bye.
I love doing these shows, Craig, I must say. We are now going to go to Blake in Australia. Blake, how are you?
Morning, gents. Great to be with you again.
Hello, mate.
I'm still pinching myself that we're in a final. I think it's just great. And, been saying since the start, 17th, 15th, 14th, 16th, whatever it may be throughout the season. I think it won't matter, and nobody will remember it if we lift in that trophy on Wednesday night. So fingers and toes crossed on all fronts. But I think touching on what a lot of the gents have said so far, that they're not the United of old. They're not the Fergie United. And they're very vulnerable. We've gotten them on the bounce 3 times this year. I think we hold good confidence going into this one.
Blake, you've always been quite confident when we've been on shows together. You've backed Ange Postecoglou for the whole season, and you've assured me that's nothing to do with his nationality. You've just believed in Ange. What do you think, or why do you... I'm thinking of a best way to phrase this question. Ange in the dressing room, right? So you're one of the players. What do you want to hear from Ange before the game? Because we know he's a really good speaker. How do you think he's going to get the players up for this game?
Yeah, it's a really tricky one, because you don't want to go any given Sunday level, but also at the same time, you do want some inspiration behind it. I think he's got to be measured in his approach, but when the moment's right, you do inspire your players. I think there was a moment when he was coaching the Socceroos in the Confederations Cup. We just won the Asian Cup. And there's a great video on Optus Sport. I definitely encourage, once everyone's finished watching the show here, of course, heading over to YouTube and, staying on YouTube and looking up the Ange speech leading into the Confederations Cup. It was talking about how much it means to everyone else around you, not necessarily about you. And everyone in the room had been on a journey, whether they'd come from country football in Australia or they were immigrants from overseas. Their parents had made the ultimate sacrifice to be with us, to be living in Australia, all those kinds of things. I think he knows how to hit a nerve with players, but in a very measured and the right approach. So I think he's got to go in with the motivation, but not all over the top, because I think you've got to remain calm in those moments. And we do want to obviously go out and put on a good show. We don't want to start slow, but he has a way with words. And if you look at that post-match video as well, just saying how much it meant to everyone, all that kind of stuff, you can see you can see he's got a way with words. So I think he'll have it in his arsenal to, oh, pardon the pun, but I hope.
Come on. Don't get...
He'll have it in his toolkit. Let's say he'll have it in his toolkit to get the players motivated. I really do believe in him, and I think we should all do it. You know, I've put second season trophy in the little bio there because I'm sure the press are absolutely petrified that they might get it wrong on Thursday. In fact, they will get it wrong on Wednesday night.
That would be so cold if he did that. I've said mic drop. He'll just walk off, go, I told you I'll win things in my second season, drop.
100%.
How good.
That would be the first thing. Surely he walked into the press conference and says exactly that. Surely,
yeah. Told you.
I think so. You know, he gets a lot of stick for being prickly with the media, but I think it's been warranted this season. The amount of time, some of the questions that have been asked towards him. What do you think? What do you think of Man United's season? And you know, do you think that this won't define their season? He goes, I don't. What kind of a question's that? How would I know? You know, you should probably ask Ruben that question. And it's absolutely true. So, you know, obviously...
Do you know what, Blake? Do you know what? Sorry to interrupt. I completely agree with that because I feel like when you listen to those questions again and again and again, and sometimes like they've done press conferences like 2 or 3 days later to the previous one, and you could tell like Andrew's just thinking, oh, not again. And then like some of the journalists, they do ask the same question. And I feel like I know some of the media guys have got on his back saying that he can be quite rude, prickly, whatever you want to call it. But I tell you what, I feel like if it was me, I'd just say, look, I answered that the other day. You know, refer back to it. You know, why are you asking me this again? I feel like I'd probably be a little bit more ruder than Ange, actually, if it was me, because I feel like, you know, you can't be answering the same stuff again and again and again. But can I ask you, Blake, obviously you are in Australia. And, you know, Ange Postecoglou is Australian. You know, you're sticking by Ange Postecoglou to win us this trophy on Wednesday. What have you made of his time at Tottenham? Because, you know, it's very, very fair to say that he has received so much criticism, particularly this season, particularly in the last couple of months, particularly how we've lost some of these Premier League games recently.
Yeah, look, I think in his time at Tottenham Hotspur, I think it was an injection of the arm when he first came in because we'd played this negative, boring style of football under win-now managers that didn't work. That's not the Spurs way. And I think he brought back that to daring and to do sort of mentality that we've been really lacking over the last couple of seasons. So, you know, we always go on about the first 10 games and how much euphoria was behind it. We were, you know, dismantling the likes of Liverpool and Man United at the time, and all these big wins were coming through the door. I think he's always had the club's interests at heart and he's always represented the club. Whereas I think Conte and Mourinho had this, they had this mentality that they were doing the club a favour by being there. So you can see that it meant something to Ange. Obviously, it's his big first Premier League debut with a club. He was realistically probably the best candidate after, let's be honest about it, managers didn't want to come to us. So to come from Celtic, where it's a 2-horse race, and obviously, you know, everyone goes on, oh, well, it's either Rangers or Celtic, so you're either going to win the treble or you're not. I don't think that's actually entirely accurate because it takes a lot to win a domestic treble, let alone the league, and you've got a lot of things have got to go right. So, and what it's worth pointing out too is that he had injuries in both of those seasons at Celtic, and they still managed to get a treble in that second year. So back on the impact with Spurs. I think it's been what we've needed. And to his credit, a semi-final and now a final in a completely injury-riddled season is a phenomenal effort. So let's hope, obviously, he can get it done on Wednesday. And we know that the future's up in the air for him. But I don't think that matters in that moment, to be honest. I don't think none of us are going to remember that once we're lifting that trophy. And I just can't wait to see the likes of Sonny, someone that has stuck fat to the club, had offers to leave, had offers to go elsewhere, and he's always stuck true to the club. So it only seems right that players like him, you know, Ben Davies, that's been there for a long time. I know he gets stick for the 7 out of 10 Ben, but all those guys that have just been there through the thick and thin, they're the ones that want that we should do it, that they should do it for, and obviously the fans that go week in, week out as well. So, and everyone involved.
Absolutely. Blake, last question for you. You know what I'm going to ask you? I'm going to ask you for a score prediction, but it's going to be very early in Australia. You watching the game, have you booked the day off work to watch it, or are you going to get up and then have to go to work, win, lose, or draw?
No, so it's a 4:30 a.m. kickoff here in Adelaide. I'm going to the Arkabar of the Australia Spurs fans. I wouldn't miss it. I absolutely wouldn't miss it. I haven't missed the game yet this year, so this season, and I just love it, gents. I love this. I love being part of this this Spurs community, and people from all over the world. It's just incredible. So, look, at 4:30 kickoff, be with the Oz Spurs crew in Adelaide at the Arkabar. Got the venue booked. 4:30 kickoff. Can't wait to see it. I'm going to say a 2-0 or 3-1. I think I'm going to stay on that line. 2 Spurs. Van der Ven and Romero do a fantastic job of locking it down. I'm just worried that we're going to get an unlucky ricochet, but still get the job done, 3-1 or something like that. And the goal scorers for me, I think it'll be Sonny getting on the score sheet. I think Solanke will get on the score sheet. And I'm going to say Porro for the third if we score one. So that's my prediction. Just wanted to say, gents, I hope you have a great time in Bilbao. It was absolutely skyrocket ridiculous to get there from here, of course. It was... This is no short of the journey that it was going to take. It was going to be Adelaide to Perth, Perth to Singapore, Singapore to Athens, and then Athens into Bilbao. That was
wow.
It was just going to be crazy to get there, and it would have been amazing, but not to be. We'll have to enjoy it in the early hours of the morning here, and I cannot wait. I hope you have the best time, and can't wait to speak to you both after we're lifting the trophy.
Do you know what, Blake? I was going to say, if we do win, the next day I'll be travelling home, and I'm going to Barcelona airport and then Barcelona to home. But I'm in Barcelona for about 6 hours waiting for the next flight. So if we do win, I think that I'll probably do another fan show to bring you all back on and talk about our win. So if that is the case, hopefully I will see you there.
I wouldn't miss it, gents. Thanks so much for having me. And this is big for our club. This is big for our fans. And fingers, toes, everything crossed. We've got it. We've got it.
Blake, great having you a part of our podcast and part of the team. So thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you again very soon. Hopefully on Wednesday or Thursday. Sorry, Thursday.
Love it. Big ups, gents.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Bye.
Hello. Bye.
Craig, everyone so far has been so positive about Tottenham winning the Europa League.
Yeah.
We normally have a complete mixture, don't we? So everyone is positive.
Do you know what it is? It goes back to what we were talking about before. It's who we're playing. 3 results against them this season have gone our way. We all know it's not the Manchester United team under Fergie. I think if we were playing Liverpool, for example, or Chelsea, perhaps people would be mixed, but people think we've got a real chance, and we have. Let's face it, we have.
We're going to go to the US again, and we've got Matt with us. Matt, how are you?
Very good, gents. How you guys doing today?
Very good, very good. Matt, every time you come on this show, we normally see a different part of your house. How's it all going?
I'm sorry to say this is actually the same spot that we were in when I was with Barnaby. So it's nothing too exciting. I did spend I just came back from Costco, spent an ungodly amount of money on a whole bunch of things that I don't need. If you need paper towels, I got enough for the next 80 years. I swear, I'm ready for nuclear holocaust over here. But as for the house, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're almost there. Just give it time. It's a work in progress.
Now, how are you feeling right now as a Spurs fan overall? Because surely, like I said earlier, we've got to park the form. We've got to park all these poor performances in the Premier League to one side. We're 90 minutes away from glory, 90 minutes away from lifting this trophy, and 90 minutes away from playing Champions League football. How are you feeling ahead of this game?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling relaxed. I've listened to a lot of different podcasts before, and sometimes I talk about compartmentalization. I'm a big guy with mental health and everything like that, but compartmentalization is very key with Spurs and this season. You have to compartmentalize the league form and the Premier League, and then basically just put it in that box and throw it away and realize it means nothing, and kind of just don't forget and just don't think about it. I know they lost on Friday, I was at work. I didn't even look at my phone. I just read the report afterwards. I'm not concerned about it. Like I read that Sonny was getting into form. I read that, like there was a couple of bits of interplay. I'm very concerned about Sarr, like when Ange afterwards says, we think it's precautionary. I fully expected to see Sarr in a hospital bed, with a thumbs up like this. But overall, I am very calm about how I feel about the final. I think we're a better team than Manchester United. There's the mystique of Manchester United that doesn't exist anymore. I think that is long gone. Even though we're in a final, I think even all these pundits and critics, I think you guys spoke about it like as soon as you started the show about how people are really scared that we may win a trophy and then the narrative is gonna have to honestly change. And this will be good because then it'll be no more lazy journalism. That's good. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
No, you're on. Yeah, you're right. You've always been really positive, Matt. And I hear what you're saying about Costco. Actually, I went there the other week. Went in there for some toilet roll cheese and some bacon, and came out with a kayak.
I'll tell you, the subjects we cover on these fan shows is just incredible.
Oh my God, Craig!
Honestly,
on the way out.
Go on.
On the way out, I was like, hey, baby, look, there's patio equipment. There's look, we could get a big giant umbrella. It's only $1,700. And then she's like, are you serious? What's the matter with you? Like, you got to stop it. She's like pushing me out the door. Like it's like a drug almost. But I'm so glad you understand the pain, Craig. You go in with one thing, you come out with 17 others, most of the times forgetting the one thing you went in to get. It's great stuff.
And I come out with these big box of Kit Kats and I don't know if you have them in America, but ridiculous.
What I was going to say, Matt,
the peanut butter cups.
Going in for what you wanted and then coming out with what you didn't want. It's like some of our transfer windows.
It is.
Oh my God!
Like
wow.
That. Yeah.
Wow,
absolutely.
That is a great segue, Chris. Wow, that was perfect, man. I like that.
I'll tell you what, the Costco Stadium, that'd work, wouldn't it? The Costco Stadium, that'd be ironic. But
hey, it's true. Hey, man, do we have to pay? I'll pay that $65 membership fee if I get to go in there whenever I want. That's great. That's a good deal. I'll go into the stadium whenever I want. But it's sometimes we go in there for what you what you want, but you come out with what you need. Maybe that's more for like what our transfer has been like, maybe we wanted all these other things, but what we really needed was Solanke at the beginning, because I got a really good feeling about him in the final. Like I don't know, I think I spoke to you guys maybe on the last one, and I think I said big game Solanke. He's always somehow he doesn't score these numbers of goals, the sheer volume of goals, but he gets these big goals, and they I believe he scored in the United game away. He scored in the Bodo Glimt away. He scored in the Frankfurt penalty. He scored a lot of big games. I believe he scored in the AZ game at home. So I mean, he has the ability. So I think we got what we needed. I think we really got what we needed with Solanke, and I think he's going to be a really big part of it.
Well,
it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's funny you say about players scoring, and some players play really well against certain other teams. I'm sure you get that in NFL and all your sport, hockey and all that. It's just something that clicks. Don't know why. I've played in games myself where you're playing an opposition, you think, I'm going to score today, I'm going to have a good game. It always happens. Now, for me, Maddison has not performed in some games this season, but he's always shown up against Manchester United. Of course, he's scored goals, he's created goals. Do you think Maddison is going to be a big miss against United, and Kulusevski for that matter? Because Kulusevski seems to always like playing against Manchester United.
I think that's a good question, Craig. Maddison and Kulusevski have really been influential in all three of our wins this year. I think they had major parts to play, assisting and scoring a few of the goals. I don't have the stats in front of me. But and it is going to be a big loss. Both of those two guys, Kulusevski, I feel he was almost there with form right before that injury. But, we also have Pape Sarr. And if you look at him against United, he's really done well. He's really scored, like, remember, he scored that goal to start the Andrew Revolution in the 2-0 win at home in the beginning of Postecoglou's reign. He had the knock on for Solanke's goal, I think, at Old Trafford this year. He's had a really good number of games. So, I'm trying to be positive with it and see it like from the point where one guy goes down, another guy goes down, and let's use this to galvanize and work with what we have. I mean, Sarr is a great player. I think he's getting into more and more form. I think we should just try to like beef up the midfield and almost just like power through them. Like, we have these strong dribbler types who could like kind of press resist could get through that first line and then just drive. Because I don't think that Manchester United midfield or defense has the legs to really stay up. And I think once you get past like that midfield, running at Maguire or whoever they have in their center backs, I'm not exactly sure. I know there's some injuries back there, but I think if our midfield starts running at that, they'll create the space out wide. And but it's I'm very confident with it. I think Sarr is going to step up. I think Poro's done very well in Europe. Udogie has been like so good these last couple of games in Europe. So I think we do have the big game players there. But like you said, Craig, it is a big loss that we don't have Madison and Kulusevski. But where one guy goes down, another opportunity is there for somebody to do something else. I mean, we can't play in the same way. Unfortunately, we can't play that type of ball that Madison and Kulusevski allow us to play. But we've shown that we could be successful without it. We could play a little, dirty it up, like stodge it up, I guess. Like if you want to kind of like dirty it up in the midfield, but we could do that. And then we could push it wide. And then we could play those types of games, with, if we have Johnson or Sonny's playing himself into form, Odebear, we have these players that could hurt them from like the wide areas and get it into Solanke and Richarlison is always a menace too. So, I mean, I feel really good. I feel really good about it. It's a shame that they don't get to play in it, but that's football. They did a good part to get us here, so they deserve a lot of the praise regardless.
Big up to Majestic, by the way. He's watching from the TalkSport offices. Of course, he is the co-host of Same Old Spurs, so please do give that channel a subscribe. Majestic is always so supportive of our channel, so thank you so much. Matt, what sort of game are you expecting? I'm also going to give you a couple of stats here as well. In the 14 games this season in the Europa League, we've scored 27 goals, we've conceded 13, we've won 9, we've drawn 3, and we've lost 2. And what an interesting stat this is. Spurs have scored more goals, which is 342, more goals than any other team in the UEFA Cup or the Europa League in history. So we are the top goal scorers in this competition. What sort of game are you expecting, Matt? Because we've spoken already to a number of guests about the 3 games against Manchester United this season, which we've won all 3. What sort of game are you expecting? Because like Craig said, if it gets to the 70-minute mark and it's still 0-0, how would you be feeling?
I would still be confident. I really do think that the nerves would actually start playing on them more because remember, they're the ones who the critics always say they're Manchester United. We're Manchester United. We win these types of games. We don't lose to teams like Spurs. So I think actually if it got to the 70th minute in the 0-0, I think it would actually weigh on them more. And, I think that would kind of galvanize us because we've shown that we could dig deep in these European matches when our backs up are against the wall and really kind of deliver a great performance. So I think we could get at them for very quickly. Like I said, I think it's going to be more of a physical game, more of a type in the transitional periods. I think a lot of it is going to come from that. As long as that we have our back 4 with Vicario in line and they play well, I think we're not going to allow too many chances to them. So them being United, us being Spurs, I could see them getting a dodgy goal here and there. But I really do think that we'll have enough quality, especially on set pieces. If we have Richarlison in the air and Solanke, Romero's a menace. I think Romero, I don't know, I've been critical of Romero. Sometimes he's with us, sometimes he's not. It seems like he's like a madman sometimes, and he Sometimes I feel like he's only interested in Argentina, but I think he's going to deliver big time. Him and Solanke are going to deliver big time on Wednesday. I'm like, I don't want to say mark my words, but I have a really strong feeling that they're going to deliver from a set piece and just like a big like crunching tackle that's not a red card, a crunching tackle that's perfectly legal, but like, you know, fires up, and then like shortly after that we get a goal, you know, and then like he leads us off into the sunset with Sonny, you know, they share the cup up there. I mean, I can see it all. Let's manifest it, guys. Let's manifest it.
Matt, lastly, what's your score prediction? I'm sorry to cut you short, because I feel like people like you, I could talk to for hours about Spurs, but I do occasionally get told off by Craig saying, "Look, we need to give these people 5 minutes to talk, and then we need to get off at a decent hour." Whereas me, I'd be talking for 10 hours on this podcast, you know, about all sorts of stuff. But you know, I've got a flight to catch shortly. Craig's got to go work tomorrow morning, so I'm sorry to cut you short. But what's your score prediction for Wednesday?
I totally understand. I do tend to rattle on about nonsense. My score prediction.
No, I love it. I love it.
Tell that to my wife, because she's always the one being like, "Yeah, you need to wrap it up. Like, wrap it up. It's like the substitution thing. Wrap it up." 2-0 or 3-1. Like I said, I could see us giving up like a fluky goal, but I do think that we have enough overall quality, and I think that they're going to crumble under us. I feel that it's kind of like our destiny, and I think Ange is going to deliver this like impassioned speech, just like, you know, like they're going to not even walk through the doors to enter the stadium. They're just going to like run through the walls and like just, I'm telling you, they're going to be like so fired up. And like, I know you asked one of the other guys, what would you say? He's just like, just say that we're all with you. The fans, we're all with you. 40 years of European pain, 20 years of like no cup pain. We're with you. Every tackle, every header, every shot. We're with you. We're with you. Just feel it and own it and make yourself heroes, legends. Like this is your time.
Love it.
Like I feel like I'm ready to run through a wall right now.
Love it. Love the passion, Matt. Love it. Absolutely love it. I love doing these shows. I really do, particularly when Spurs are doing well, or we're just about to go in a cup final. But as I said, Matt, I could talk to you for hours. We've got to get you back on the podcast very soon. Hopefully that will be soon. So we will talk to you soon. Have a great evening on Wednesday. And talk to you soon. Great having you on.
Come on, you Spurs. Excellent show, guys. Keep it up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Later, mate.
Craig, I know we said a 2-hour show. Yeah. We were now going to go to the Czech Republic. We're going to go to Steve. Steve, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, gents. How are you guys?
Steve, you all right?
Very well, Steve. Of course, we've seen you in the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, because you've come over for the last couple of home games in the Europa League. How are you feeling right now ahead of this final?
I'm pretty confident, to be honest. Confident enough to be actually decided to go and watch it in actually my favourite pub in Prague, which is actually owned by a Gooner. He's an old friend of mine. You know, we give as good as we get. And I'm leaving myself open to being, if we lose, which I don't think we're going to, that's why I'm watching it there. I just can't wait to turn around, you know, and give it to him. Like, you know, we've actually, you know, we've won something and do it in his pub. Like, so, I'm looking forward to it. I was looking at flights. I didn't have a ticket for the game, but I was looking a bit like yourself. There was a flight from Prague to Barcelona, then take an overnight train to Bilbao, 16 hours, like a sleeper. And then I thought I'll give up on the accommodation. I'm an old dog. I'll just stay up all night and then somehow get a flight back. But in the end, I thought, well, I haven't even got a ticket. It's not really going to be worth it. It's going to work because the flights back were much more expensive than the flights and connections there. It started to also get to silly money considering I didn't have a ticket, if you know what I mean. So
some of the ways, Steve, that I've heard or had conversations with people about how they're getting there, how they're getting back, is just unreal.
If I'd have had a ticket, like I say, if I'd have had a ticket, I'd have definitely, come hell or high water, I'd have got there and not even probably planned out to get back. That would have been like, well, I'll just see how it goes, you know, somehow get back across Europe. But no, I'm actually quite confident. I've got a friend of mine I'm going to meet up with, Glenn, who's been an old Spurs fan for a long time. He's a bit nervous about it. But I compared it to the Palace Man City game yesterday in the cup final, because he was saying, oh, Palace have not won anything for a long, long time or never. And I said, it was always a first time, you know, they're up against it. And then I said their achievement to beat Man City isn't more difficult than our game against Manchester United on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the distance in teams and the ability and the strength of depth in Man City compared with Crystal Palace, and also Palace's lack of experience in any kind of cup finals over a period of time. You know what I'm trying to say? So I was saying, if they can do it, I mean, what's the problem with Man United? And like you said, we've done them 3 times this season. But to be honest, I'm not one of those kind of. I don't look at statistics like that. That doesn't mean anything. This is a completely different one-off game. But I still think we're going to do them. And obviously Ange knows what he's doing, at least in Europe. If we, I don't know what you think about man marking Fernandes. I watched him play the Chelsea game. He was pulling all the strings as usual, as he's done for quite a few years from the midfield. And I just think if we put someone like Bentancur on him, crunch into him early, or even Romero, but obviously not so they get red cards, but just kind of slow him down a bit. Don't let him have time on the ball, because he is a master of pulling the strings from midfield. Fantastic passing. Yeah. He can just split a defence. That's the only person I think they've got who's better than players that we've got. Their keeper looks suspect against Chelsea. And also, I noticed that when towards the end of games, that Maguire tends to sort of pick up the ball and start running through the midfield, and because he's a very experienced player, he's got a long stride on him, but he's not exactly.
You've been scouting the team then, Steve?
Say again?
You've been scouting the whole team then?
Yeah, no, I just watched their game against Chelsea the other night, just because it was on. I had nothing else to do. Well, because we're going to play them, I just wanted to have a look at how they play. They're very similar to us, like, you know, getting to the edge of the Chelsea box, and then the final ball was terrible. Højlund's just off the ball. I hope he stays off the ball. It's absolute crap from what I've seen. And Ignacio sort of flatters to deceive. He's got a lot of pace. He gets in some good positions, and it just doesn't seem to happen. And I think with Romero and the back four that we've got, I think we'll contain them up front. The game will be won and lost in midfield. And like we've all been saying, we all know we've lost our creative midfielders. And I agree with, I don't know who it was with pointing, or not pointing out, but, you know, someone was saying, so who would you put in the 10? And I thought, and I agree with it, their idea of dropping Solanke into the 10, because he's used to running his socks off, so he'll help out the midfield. He can play a pass, he can hold up the ball if we're under pressure, and the back line give the ball into the midfield. And then have Son and Johnson on the wings, and Ritchie in front of them. So, because I'm not too sure about Sarr, you know, he's not been playing that great as in the 10. And the other two are more defensive midfielders, aren't they? If he's going to play, obviously Bentancur, I think he's never been the same since that injury from Matty Cash, obviously, but he still does a really good job. I think the sort of fly in the ointment, if you like, is Basuma. You know, if he plays, I'm really worried about him on the ball, his lack of concentration. If he's playing in the double pivot with Bentancur in front of the back four. What's he going to do?
So, some of the games though with Basuma, he has stepped up, but it's just consistency, in my opinion. Steve, lots of very interesting points there. Craig, can I come back to you on one of the points that Steve made there about Crystal Palace on Saturday winning the FA Cup against Manchester City? I tell you what, I watched the game and I found myself sitting there smiling that Crystal Palace had won their first FA Cup. And when I went on social media, pretty much every Spurs fan on there, congratulations, Crystal Palace, you know, and you saw the way that they celebrated with each other, you know, just that relief of getting that trophy. You know, the interviews after the game, the chairman, the manager, and so on, the fans were absolutely delighted to win their trophy. Craig, how did you feel about it? Because I've seen so many posts since saying, Newcastle, they haven't won a trophy in so long. They've won the League Cup. Now, of course, you've got Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup. It seems to be happening around Europe as well. Teams winning trophies where they haven't won a trophy for so long. Is this going to be Tottenham's turn now?
Harry Kane winning a trophy,
There you go. Yeah.
I was absolutely made up for Crystal Palace. They thoroughly deserved it. They absolutely bossed Manchester City in the areas they needed to boss them. City obviously had the overall possession, but just goes to show possession don't mean anything. You don't win your matches. And, City have won nothing this season.
No.
Who'd have bet on that? Neither have Arsenal, by the way. So, it's incredible to see the amount of teams, like you see, Chris, around Europe. Just go and do a bit of research on them winning their first trophy. And it's kind of, dare I say, it was written in the stars that Spurs are going to break this trophy. I've just got a feeling.
Yeah, me too.
I've just had it. So many people I've spoken to are saying it. The confidence is not overconfidence. It's sort of excited positivity, I'd say, from every Spurs fan. And look, I'm not even going to say if we lose, but no, not even going to go there. I think we've got such a good opportunity, and the weight of this game, I hope, doesn't weigh on the players too heavily, because they know what it means. It's shit or bust, basically. But they've just. I don't care how we play Wednesday. I don't care how we play as long as we get over the line. Steve, I will ask you a question on how you think we're going to line up. Obviously, we won't go through the team. You give us your team if you want, but I think you've covered most players. But where is the creativity going to come from on Wednesday?
Well, it's only going to come. Well, there's two possibilities really, and that's from the wings. Johnson never really provides anything, but I saw Son's performance. He was doing his best and put in a couple of crosses. So perhaps Sonny's going to swing some balls in there. As someone mentioned earlier on, Porro, who can deliver a very good cross into the box. And it really depends on who Ange plays in the 10. Any creativity. Or maybe even Romero will step up and come through with one of his runs and split the lines as he can do with his ball, some of his passing. It's a bit of a worry, but to be honest, Kulu's been off form really the last he was injured and he was kind of out of form, so he was losing the ball. He wasn't really on it. Maddison had his moments, but some games he just went missing. A lot of players, a lot of fans that we've spoken to even on the program. I think somebody called him a show pony. Can't remember. I think it was the guy from down south, but I knew what he meant. But he was producing some really good, not only goals but assists, Maddison. So he could have done something. But it depends who he plays in the 10. That's what I think. Can I just go back to what you were saying about coincidences? And clubs around Europe. This friend of mine is a big. He's English, but he's spent a lot of time in Italy. He follows the Italian league, and apparently Bologna, won their respective cup this week, also after 51 years, and they play in the same strip as Crystal Palace, and it's actually the strip is produced somewhere in France, I think. I'm not sure. It's French. The company's owned by some French guy or something like that. So it was called quite weird. Anyway, sorry for that useless bit of information there.
No, that's great, Steve. Lastly, I was going to ask you about you've spoken about pretty much the midfield and the attacking part of our team, but the defence, it's so important to have those four at the heart of our defence, and of course Vicario, because the stats just speak for themselves. When those four are together, our results are so much better. And we've seen what a quality defender Christian Romero can be, but of course he's had his inconsistency moments this season as well. Mickey van der Ven, so important to have him at the heart of the defence. You spoke a little bit about Bruno Fernandes. Is that the only player that you do fear in this side?
He's the only one from open play that I fear in this side, but I'm a bit worried about Harry Maguire coming up for set pieces and corners, because neither Romero or Mickey van der Ven are particularly good in the air. And we have been sort of losing people in aerial positions, not only at the far post, but just generally at times. But in terms of ability, no, because they've lost, I think, their second best player to injury, which is it Martinez? His name's Martinez, isn't it? The defender, the little guy, the Argentinian, brilliant player. If he'd have been playing, I would have thought, well, they're really, really solid at the back, and we're going to find it hard to score. No, so I think, generally Fernandes, and as I say, from set pieces, Harry Maguire coming up. I'm not really sort of perturbed or worried about other players. I think they should be more worried about us. Definitely, I'm really positive.
Love it.
So I'm going
Love it.
preempt your question now.
Go on then, Steve. Go for it. Go on.
3-2.
3-2.
Yeah, 3-2. I think it's
To be honest,
it's a high scoring game, or it's going to be bloody 0-0, and we're going to make ourselves suffer as we always do and score it like the 89th minute or something and get the winner.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Exactly, we all be on tender hooks for the last extra time, and oh God, no, I'd much prefer it. Obviously, if we're like 3-0 up by half time, but is that going to happen? I don't know. I hope the nerves don't get the better of our young side, but to be honest, there's a lot of those players in the side. I know what you're saying about there's a lot weighs on their shoulders about Spurs not winning anything for a long, long time. But I don't think a lot of those players have only just arrived in the last few years. Okay, Romero's been there for 5 and Sonny's been 10 and Davis is 10. But if you look at the rest of the young players.
Do you know what though, Steve? Steve, sorry to interrupt. I was going to say that I feel like Ange Postecoglou, and I know he doesn't get a lot of credit, particularly this season from Spurs fans, but the way that he did give a lot of the young players opportunities in these Europa League games, particularly the away games, like when you think back to the team that we put out, against Galatasaray away, when you can come through experiences like that, yes, we lost the game, but these are hostile places to go to. So when you do eventually go to a cup final, when the atmosphere is electric like that, it's kind of, they're used to it.
They're used to it. And as you say, we've done very well away from home in the last 3 legs of the Europa League. Winning Frankfurt, like you knew and you said it was a hostile environment in Frankfurt. Yeah. We still came away with a win. The plastic pitch in Norway. I thought, to be honest, we'd be lucky to get away with a draw before we started. And what a game! Yeah. Tactics were perfect, executed, and shut everyone up basically. I still think because of who we are, there's still quite a lot of Spurs fans who are still not sure because it's been such a bad season in the league. Yeah. I myself and most people I talk to and you guys and the people on the program are very positive, and it's not a blind positivity. It's that kind of like Craig was saying, it's a kind of just a knowing, we're going to be all right. We're not going to fall at the hurdle. I really don't believe we will. I think I'll be waking a lot of people up in Prague on Wednesday night.
Well, we look forward to hearing those stories, Steve. Thank you so much for being a part of the show again.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on so many times. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy it. Really enjoy the program. It's been great meeting up with you guys in London over the months. So let's hope we can all enjoy a fantastic win on Wednesday night. Come on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve. Speak to you soon.
Thanks for having me on, boys.
Thanks, Steve.
Cheers. Bye. We're now going to go to our good friend, Darren Altman. Darren, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Enjoying this. It was a choice between this and the Britain's Got Talent semi-final, and I thought there's no choice.
Well, as a former contestant, you should be all over that, shouldn't
you? Not interested in the slightest. This is where the money's made, my friend. This is where the money's made.
Darren, how are you feeling right now as a Spurs fan? Because if you've been listening, we haven't been down the negative road of all these defeats in the Premier League. We're fully focused on this next game. The job in hand. 90 minutes away. I keep saying it. 90 minutes away from Champions League football. 90 minutes away from Heung-min Son and co lifting that trophy and us all being absolutely over the moon. The drinks flying everywhere, etc., etc. But how are you feeling ahead of this game?
I think. I think this feels different, and I really hope. I don't know whether the players feel it. As fans, when we turned up to the League Cup final in 2015, I watched it with my cousin, and we went to Sainsbury's. We got the beers in, we got the crisps and the nuts, and we went to mine, and we got. So I'm just painting a picture, Chris.
I know, I get it.
And we got the crisps and the nuts, and we went back to mine, and we got beat 2-0, and he went home, and it was like, oh, that was nice. I mean, it could have been like a Sunday afternoon against, whoever.
It weren't nice.
It was, it was rubbish.
Yeah.
And then with the 2019, I think we were so just I think we were all in such a shock after what happened, with the semi-final. I thought we just couldn't believe it. We were like a kid on Christmas. I think we were overawed as fans. We couldn't believe where we were. I think, and it's been said, I just got this feeling. I think it's different. I think there's so, it could be Son's last season. It could be Angie's last season. I just think it's different. I just think, I don't know, there's something in the water about this game on Wednesday. There's something in the water. And I really hope that as fans, if we're feeling it as fans, I just hope that the players are feeling what we're feeling. I know it's a silly thing to say, but I don't know. I just think that we've gone so long. We've had so much torment. I mean, this season alone, we've been through the mill. We've absolutely gone through the mill this season. But it just feels like it's now or never. We got a Manchester United team who are frankly rubbish. One of my best mates is a Man U fan, and he says it's going to be the battle against who's the least shit. But even him, he shouts and he swears, and on the TV and oh, you're crap, you're this, you're that. Højlund, do you know how many goals he's scored this season? 4.
You're right. Yeah. Okay.
If we can't beat this team, where do we go from here? We've got to beat them. We will beat them. And I loved the opening with Gary. I mean, what a way to start. What a way to set the scene. Me and him, I know he doesn't drink, but he's going to be doing vodka shots all the way up and down the high road. Me, him and Craig will be messaging you. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious.
Well, let's hope for that. It will be. It's going to be. Let's hope for a good night. Let's just bring it down a peg. I don't want to get too negative or anything.
Well, don't then.
What happened?
Well, don't then.
Have to for balance. We have to ask the question.
Where's the off button? How'd you shut him up? How'd you shut him up?
Here we go.
I'll just mute. No, it's got to be asked though, Darren. We're all positive. We all think we're going to do the job. But what does it mean for the team that loses Wednesday? How does that affect? It affects everything, doesn't it?
It does affect everything, and the money and the Champions League millions, and who and what players will come and what players won't come. Of course, it's absolutely shit or bust. It's huge, but I just think that for Tottenham, it's massive. It's absolutely huge. I just cannot see. I mean, you say who's going to score. It just takes, I mean, as dire as Richarlison's been this season, really, it just takes a header. He can head the ball. It takes a ball to the back post and Johnson to come in, bam, like he's done numerous times this season. It takes Porro from 35 yards, Porro, like he's done a few times. We've got goals in the team. I mean, it is upsetting and it is disappointing that Maddison is not playing and Kulusevski is not playing. I've got a funny feeling Burwell's going to be fit. He's been training with the team. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on, and he has been mega for us. He has been awesome. I'd love to see him on. I want to see Son on the left. I don't want to see him in the middle. It just doesn't work. I want to see him on the left. I want to see Johnson on the right. I want to see balance in the team. We've got goals. They're not that good, Man United.
It's good though, Darren, isn't it? The fact that Son has come back a few games before this final. So we haven't got the same scenario as what we had in the Champions League final of does Son start? Is he on the bench, etc.? The whole Harry Kane saga back in the Champions League final. What have you made of Son this season? And do you feel like he is the player to step up and, you know, lead by example in this final? Because, you know, like a few of the guys have already said this evening, you know, we've had opportunities before of players stepping up in the final, but we haven't quite got over the line. And how many times have we heard Ange say this season we weren't at the level? So we've got to be on it from the very off.
Absolutely. And, you know, people use the phrase gone missing, Chris. I don't particularly like that. I think it's a pretty nasty phrase, you know, because it's not like he doesn't show up. Of course he shows up. But, I mean, we saw when he played, who did we play the last? It was Palace, wasn't it? But he had, you know, he played well. I mean, we lost the game, but he played well. You know, he cuts inside. He can do what he does. You know, he can turn it on. He can beat players. He can put a ball in the box. You know, I don't have a problem with him. I think, you know, I'd like him to start. You know, hopefully, you know, he starts as far as I'm concerned. And like, I've forgotten which guest you had on. I just hope we attack them from the off. I don't want this sit back nonsense. I want us to absolutely go at them. Just go at them. We don't need to be afraid of this team. We don't need to be afraid of them. We're not playing Liverpool in a final or Man City in a final or them lot down the road in a final. We're not. We're playing a really poor Manchester United in the final. And, you know, and let Son do the team talk. You know, it means more to him than it does Ange, I'll tell you that. Let him do the team talk. I just, yeah, I really hope. Listen, Craig, I get it, mate. I could name you all the negatives. I could start going the other way, but I refuse to. I'll keep that. Zip it, lock it, put it in my pocket. I won't go down that route because I want to be Mr. Positive today. I really do think that this is our time.
I do. As I've said on here, I do think something special is in the water. I think you used that expression. I think a lot of people have. I just can't see a world in which we lose this game because perhaps I don't want to, admittedly, because we've all been through. It's become second nature. I know it sounds horrible, but we're kind of too used to losing big games, and I just can't see how we can lose another one. You know, I just can't see it happening, and I just think certain players are going to step up, and you're going to be talking about players that stepped up on the next podcast on Thursday. Chris does a fan show, or whatever. You're going to be talking about players that really showed up and put in a performance, and I do truly hope Heung-min Son is one of them. But who for you is the most important player on the night? Who do you think's got to show up, Darren? Or name a few if you think.
I think that our defense. I think that Van de Ven and Romero are very, very important, and I want Romero to be as bullish as he is, but I want him to keep a clear and calm head. I can just see him make a stupid tackle in the 5th minute or something, and you go, no, and there's his yellow card, you know, and you just go, oh, God. I think he's really important, actually. As much as Son is important or Solanke is important, I think Romero is very important. Mickey van der Ven, touch wood, will have a blinder, hopefully. I mean, we've all seen what he can do. He's been immense at the back. But I just don't want to see Romero's passion rule his head. You know, I want him to keep a bit of clarity because I think if he gets a yellow card, God forbid, I don't want him to be on tenterhooks. I want him to play with freedom, but not to get, you know, that red mist that he can have a tendency towards.
Darren Wilson says here, Darren is a ledge, and Denise says, go back to the nuts and the crisps.
Do you know what? I've been good, actually, because Denise, that's very kind of you. Crisps are a bit high in fat for my liking. Nuts are good, but you've got to be easy with them. I'll send you a PDF. Message me.
Darren, I'm going to give you a couple of stats here, and this isn't great reading, by the way, but we do give all the stats, the good, bad, and the ugly. And I know some people don't like the stats, but when we do shows like this, I've got to read all the stats out. I know some people go, I don't care about the stats, but there they are. It's Tottenham's first UEFA match in Bilbao, and Spurs have failed to win in each of their previous 7 visits to Spain in European competition, drawing 3 and losing 4. But this is Manchester United. What have you made of Man United this season, Darren? Have you been surprised by their league form?
Well, yeah, because we're used to, you think of Manchester United and you think of all the big names and the big players for them. And it is, I mean, for the past few seasons, they've been fairly rubbish. I know they won a League Cup or something. What did they win recently?
FA Cup.
FA Cup last year.
This is my bugbear. Like, you get these teams where they're really poor, inconsistent throughout the whole year, and then somehow they just suddenly just pick or get a trophy out of nowhere.
That's us. Well, that's us. We're poor and inconsistent. That's us. That's us.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
That's us. And all this talk about, oh, you're rubbish, you're 17th. It's been said before. I'm not saying anything that no one else has said. We won't give a monkeys 17th. Who cares?
Yeah.
Give us a relegation fight. I don't bleeding care. We'll win a European trophy. We'll be in the Champions League. Honestly, Liverpool weren't there for the taking. Chelsea weren't there for the taking. This lot are there for the taking. And we can bend them over and tickle their tummy on Wednesday. I'm telling you, we really can.
Darren, I'm going to ask this question for the first time tonight.
Yeah.
So if we win the Europa League and we're playing Champions League football, regardless of all of the poor performances in the Premier League and Spurs sitting 17th, how can a team sack a manager when you've just won a European trophy?
Oh, that's the question. That's the question. I mean,
does that happen, or does Ange Postecoglou go, there you are, mate, I told you, I always win a trophy in my second season. See you later.
If he does that, it will save us from doing it. That's all I'll say. If he does that and wants to play in, I don't know, Abu Dhabi, then good luck to him. I think from what I've seen of his tactics, I think we've seen enough. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird. Let me do a politician's answer and negate the question. Let me just do a little.
Yeah.
Okay. I am unsure why he can play so pragmatically and so considered in a cup, and yet whenever he goes in the league, it's back to like shit or bust. I don't get it, because what we've seen in Europe has been really, you've got the defense sitting back, you've got all the midfield dropping back. You've got a considered performance. You've got everyone holding their positions, and yet in the Premier League, you've got all the wing backs inverting, dropping into the centre. You got Porro going into central midfield. I mean, it's just like there's some games where I just don't get what he's doing. I try to sort of observe. I'm not a tactician, but I've sort of tried to work out what he's doing, and I just don't get. I don't get it. Yet in the Europa League, he's played with a really considered formation, and if we get that on Wednesday, happy days. Happy days. If we get, why are you smirking like that? If
Go on.
No, just you unnerving me. I just think if we get the performances
you lot told me on WhatsApp the other day, you said you need to smile more, so I start smiling. You said what you're smiling at, you see?
And to be honest, you're a very handsome man. You've got a lovely smile. So I just think that if we can play with the same pragmatism that we've been playing in all season in the Europa League, I think it's a different Tottenham, and that's the Tottenham I want to see. I don't want to see us marauding.
Darren, before you give us your score, sorry, Craig. Go on, Craig. Go on.
No, I was going to ask. I was going to ask that very thing. I was going to ask Darren for a score prediction. So go on, if you've got something else.
I don't know.
Before you do give us a score prediction, I'm going to give you this team, right? So the last time that Spurs lost to Manchester United was back in October 2022. And we had players in our starting 11: Lloris, Doherty, Romero, Davis, Dyer, Perisic, Bentancur, Basuma, Højbjerg, Son and Kane. And our subs that day: Mora, Sanchez, Sessegnon, Skip, Spence, Brian Hill, Forster, Tanganga and Longley. I tell you what, it seems like a long time ago, that.
It does, doesn't it? It does. I was at the cup game when we beat them 4-3. And I got my mate Chris in, who's a Man U fan. It's the first time he's been to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And it was like the Keystone. It was just like, which way did he go? Which way? I mean, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely bonkers. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 4-3 on Wednesday, where everything I've just said goes out the bleeding window.
Darren, can I be a bit of a cheeky sod here and ask you, Darren Altman, for a score prediction, and then perhaps give us 3 celebrity score predictions?
I'm going to go with 4-3 Tottenham. There you go. Why don't I just be maverick and throw it out there? Okay, and I'll give you hello. Is Louis from the BBC? Is that what you do? Do you come in here and make predictions? That's a bit weird, isn't it? It's a bit weird. That's one you haven't heard before. There you go. I reckon it'll be 4-3. How'd you go with that? I sort of, there you go, mate. I sort of say sort of quite a lot. Yeah, mate. So there you go. There's that.
That's it. No,
That's it.
Alan Sugar, want to give us one?
Alan Sugar, no, I don't. Listen, you're a schmuck. Okay. Now listen, you got flights to Bilbao. You think you're Bertie Big, but no, I haven't finished talking. Okay, we can all get cheap, easy jet flights, Chris, but with respect.
I wish they were.
And Darren, I've got to ask because it's my favourite one of yours. What does Boris think the score's going to be?
I normally say Castigat Redendo Morris, yes, but on Wednesday I will be saying Order est facture. There is to do. Yes. Bizarre.
Does Gordon Ramsay care what the score will be?
I'm going to have to start charging you a session fee. You realise this, don't you? Hey, big boy, look at that. Craig, stop putting on your fucking vape. There's children watching. Fuck me. Look at that. Even my fucking cat's had enough. Fucking hell.
Darren, absolute legend. Thank you so much. And
Listen,
I gather you'll be with the crew, the Spurs Chat podcast crew on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. Craig's a few seats behind me. Maloney is a few. I'll be throwing like Haribos at his little head. And we'll be dancing up the high road. Don't you get me wrong.
Darren, great to see you. Thank you so much for your support on this channel. We'll see you soon.
I've enjoyed this evening. Thank you very much. And big up, Chris. Lots of love.
Thank you, mate. See you soon.
Bye, darling.
Oh, wow. We have got the legend, Mr. Ricky Norwood, back with us. Ricky, how are you?
Oh,
Ricky, you have so many fans on this channel. So what I thought that we would do, if it's okay with you, is you stay with us from now until the end of the show. And then we'll bring the other guests on, and I'm sure that they'd absolutely love to talk to you as well. And then we'll bring you in and get your opinions and thoughts on this game. But before we bring in the next guest, tell us how you are feeling right now, because, you know, quite often, and it's very, very fair to say, quite often this season, you personally have been heavily criticised by your positivity with Postecoglou, with Spurs, with Tottenham going all the way to Europa League final. Well, we're here.
We're here, man. We're here, and that is all that matters. I mean, I keep putting out, right? As soon as Kulusevski got crocked again, and you know, it got started banding around that we're cursed. And I said it as well. We are cursed, and we have been cursed all of this season. But at that moment, I was like, you know what? We break the curse on the 21st. And I put out a tweet every single day since, letting people know that we break the curse on the 21st, because I have had enough. You have had enough. We've all had enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is our time, Chris. Regardless of this season, okay? And you've got to remember as well, this season has been, look, we're used to chaos and madness happening around the club. There's never a dull day. Let's be fair. But this is really a really bad blip for us. This has been Man United's reality for years, right? It's been there up and down, tentative knee. I can't speak. You know, it's been the way that they have been for years. It's just been a yo-yo club, and yes, they can spend big money, and yes, they'll win the odd FA Cup, and yes, you know, when it comes down to cup finals and etc., they'll get jammy somehow and end up, you know, turning into prime Barcelona, or suddenly something happens. But you know what, bro? It ends on Wednesday. There's a couple of reasons. For me, Man United and Man United fans are already a little bit too arrogant, and they're a little bit too kind of, this is already won. Plus, a lot of them don't even want the trophy. What they want is the financial benefits that go with it, right? So that helps them get into Champions League, get their Champions League, so that it can start their rebuild. It's a financial gain. For us, it's about glory. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. For us, it's about the glory. And I think that changes everything. I think that changes everything about the desire, about the hunger, about the will to win, about the way that we move forward, about the way that we become Spartans and look after each other, you know what I mean? As we defend together and we fight together. I think it's all culminating to that, my friend. And I'm super excited. It is our time, you know, and history is showing us right now, Newcastle, Palace, you know, Bologna, like it is happening all around. This year is the year that we break the curse, and this year is the year that things start changing for us, boys. I'm telling you, and it has to be. It has to be, and it is that for us. You know, the same way that Andrew will speak in the press conferences, and he'll go, you know, when he's been asked about Man United and what Amaroon said. What has Man United got to do with us? What has it got to do with us and where we value the game and what we're going out there to achieve? We're going out there for us, boys. We're going out there for the badge, and every single one of them players are going out there, and especially Sonny. Especially Sonny. There shouldn't be no queries, no qualms, no questions about Sonny. That guy, you've got to remember, forget his form this season, and technically his numbers are still pretty good. Do you know what I mean? They're not Sonny numbers, but they're pretty good. But technically, you got to remember who that man is. And, you know, when Harry Kane was on his way to Man City, he said, nah, I'll sign the contract. When Saudi Arabia was after him, he said, nah, I've got unfinished business at Tottenham. When Poch left, do you know what I mean? When Mourinho left, when Conte left, Sonny has been there. And if you don't think that Sonny is not going to be ready for that game, if you don't think he's going to be the game changer, if you think that you can't bet your, and don't do it, because I am on one, but if you think you can't bet your house on Sonny, like being the difference maker and lifting that trophy on Wednesday, I think you're absolutely mad. That's what we want our players to be. It means more to him. It means more to the players at Tottenham Hotspur. Those that have signed under Postecoglou, they've all been given this challenge, right? The thing that he goes for is character, right? That's what we've heard. That's been the thing that I've been most impressed with when it comes down to the players that we're recruiting, is that he needs the character. I want to see that character in you. And this is what character's about. To be able to come to a club that has the Spursy tag, that has all of the madness that goes on with us fans split down the middle, or the craziness that we don't even argue about when VAR goes against us or when a ref goes against us. Boys, how many times has it happened where we don't even mention it? We all half mention it, be like, oh yeah, the ref done, and we'll move on. We don't argue about it. We don't sit there for 20 minutes and dissect it, or we don't like boo-hoo, because we're used to that. So for all of those times, right? Sonny, the team, Postecoglou, those players that have come in, those players that have been recruited for their character, it's for this moment. And it's going to be Wednesday when it all comes together. Romero, don't worry about anything that is deflecting your energy. Don't worry about Romero, anybody going. All right? Anybody going. Don't question nobody's loyalty about internationals, nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. Don't even breathe a bad word about the boss or anything to do with Tottenham up until that final is done and dusted. Soon as it comes Thursday, say what you need to say. But every bit of our energy, every single one of us around the damn world, which this podcast reaches out to 3, 4, 5 days a week around the world, we need to be focused on what is going to happen. We're going to be winning. You need to see Sonny lift that trophy. We all need to see it. We all need to believe it. And the thing is, we believe is that people are scared. We are scared. Tottenham is scared of belief because of how many times that we have and then been heartbroken. So out of protection, we're trying to protect our heart, and we're trying to go reality, and we're trying to think about form, and we're trying to think about all the negativity, and we're trying to think about bad performances. Yeah, but listen, we beat Man United with Fraser Forster in goal and gave them 2 goals, and we still beat them. It is our time. The jammy Man United lot, they're not getting out of this one. They can. I love that they're coming in thinking that they've already won it. When we slap them in the face with the performance that we're going to bring, when Amarin thinks that we're going to play a certain way and we play a different way, like when we slap them in the face, nobody knows what's coming. But trust me, Tottenham, it's coming. It's okay to believe. Put your energy, put all of the doubt aside. Doesn't matter. Forget it. Put all of the doubt aside and put everything into this one game. Put everything into the badge. Yeah, the same way you want the players to, the same way you want the manager to, the same way you want the club to. This is what we need to do there. And if you're lucky enough to be there, like you are, Chris, you are. I'm so bloody hell. If you're lucky enough to be there, embrace it. Embrace every single moment and enjoy that celebration, because you will be celebrating Wednesday night, no doubt.
Ricky.
Hello, boys. I miss you.
I couldn't have said that better myself, and I completely agree. All of our energy, despite whatever has happened, despite whatever you feel about any individual or, you know, performance before this game, whatever, you know, our energy, every single one of us needs to put that energy into Wednesday. Are you still with us? Yes.
I'd have said exactly the same as Ricky, but I'd have probably said it in a fewer words.
Yeah. We've said it in a couple of sentences where he goes off on a tangent, but we love him for that. That's why he's here.
Yeah.
Ricky, are you with us?
I think Ricky's a bit behind.
We're going to bring on. On Jim.
I think so.
Rick, are you with us? Yeah.
Can you hear me? Because I froze out for a minute then.
Yep, you're with us. Right. So, okay, we're getting back. Jim,
I don't know. What
how are you?
About.
I'm doing.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm feeling good at the moment because I'm excited, I'm hopeful, and I believe we're going to win this.
Jim, tell us how you are feeling right now as a Spurs fan, because you've probably been listening for some time, and apologies for keeping you waiting for so long. Normally when we do these fan shows, Craig and I, it is normally a complete mixture of opinions. You've probably heard everyone that has come on thinks Spurs are winning the Europa League. Are you of that mindset as well?
Yes, I am of that mindset for a couple of reasons. First, we've beaten them 3 times already this year, so we know we can beat them. Second, because we've beaten them 3 times this year, all the players will know that we can beat them, and they'll all be playing with more confidence as a result. And frankly, Man U is like, they fired Ten Hag, and they haven't done any better under Amarin. And so, you know, I'm feeling very hopeful, very positive, and I'm going to be a bundle of nerves no matter what, but I'm feeling very positive at the moment.
Which players are going to step up, Jim? Which players are going to have a good game on Wednesday?
Oh gosh, I can see Son stepping up big time. I can see Richarlison stepping up big time. Solanke stepping up big time. Johnson stepping up big time. I can even see, you know, Romero scoring a header on a corner kick. We'll have our starting back line all healthy, all fit, all well rested. So that's a big positive. Midfield, I'm hoping that we can patch something together that works, because that is, once again, injuries happen at inconvenient times, and it's going to be a big miss. Matters in Kulu, and I don't know if Bergvall is out. Some people say he's been actually training with the squad, but that's, you know, we're going to have to work some magic there. Get some people, maybe play someone out of position.
Yeah, it's an interesting one about Bergvall, because there have been a number of reports stating that he is training. I've absolutely no doubt that he is training, but it's whether he's ready to play in a competitive game, particularly a final like this. Ricky, let's bring you in on this point, because without Maddison, Kulusevski and Bergvall, where is the creativity coming from? What players are you looking at? And it's interesting because the journalist in one of the last press conferences asked Ange Postecoglou about Pedro Porro playing in that number 10 role. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it could work. It could work. We're going to have to find solutions. But the one thing that I took grace from, I suppose, was I think it was you. You put it in. I think it was you, Chris. It might have been you, Craig, that put it in the group. That was like the last time we won in Europe. There was we had a ton of injuries. Do you know what I mean? And we went in there with a skeleton crew, but we still came out victorious. I'm sure one of you put that in one of the group chats. So I look at something like that, and I look at our season, and all we've done is go through the fire. all we've done is climb the mountain with a bag of rocks on our back. Everything has been tough. Every bump along the way, we've hit, we've kicked. So now we've got a creativity bump. We had a defensive bump where we had no defenders, maybe one. You know, he's playing Archie Grader for a long time. Now we've got a creativity one. And he's looking at solutions. I like what he done with Odobert on the weekend and what he's trying with Odobert, and almost like interchanging. So he overlapped on the right side, but a lot of the time he overlapped on the left side over Sonny, which opened up space, which looked like a creative way of getting some creativity into the team. I think Porro could do it. My only concern with Porro doing it is not so much that he hasn't played the position or stuff like that. Of course, that's a worry, but that's not really my worry. My worry would be, and this is crazy to say, it would be Jed Spence, because I would assume that Jed would come in on that right-hand side. And, you know, it's just, you know, I think Jed had, even though we know what Aston Villa was, I think Jed has had like one of his worst games, really. It's like, it's one of the games where like nothing really went right for him until he went to left back, and then he looked a little bit more comfortable. So for me, that's the only little apprehension that I've got going into that, going, okay, it's cool. Spence will go. And I you know, I'm a Spence fan. I think he's a game changer. I think he can change the game at a time, and especially when he's on it. And he's almost a guy that you would go, actually, in a final, he'd probably rise to the occasion. But I think it doesn't matter, mate. Honestly, I think everybody's going to be so together that we're going to get the job done by hook or by crook, bro. We're going to get that job done. We've got enough in there. Even me personally, my idea was to chuck Sonny in the 10. But you know, whether they do that with Odobert, where they kind of switch over, because I liked Odobert on the left at times. He looked nippy. He looked quick. He looked like he was enjoying his life when he switched to the left-hand side at times. But yeah, I just think that whatever happens, I think that it's going to be Tottenham the team. It's not going to be Tottenham the individual. Do you know what I mean? I think it's going to be Tottenham the team, led by the impeccable Sonny, that is going to get us over the line. And it's not even get us over the line. We're going to win. I think we're going to win well.
Jim, that's a really good point from Ricky when he talks about the team rather than individual performances, because when you look at both of the games, you know, certainly in the knockout stages, I know you could argue that we lost that away game at AZ Alkmaar, but when you look at the Frankfurt games, you know, both at home and particularly away, and the Bodo Glimt game as well, particularly away in that leg, because it was such a professional performance, wasn't it? And a really good team performances.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just the individuals. It helps when you have some chemistry. That's why I like having our starting back line intact, because Van de Ven, Porro, Romero, and Udogie have good chemistry with each other, whereas some of our other mix and match defensive lines, I mean, Danso has not developed a lot of chemistry with the other players yet. And so that starting back line, that's good. That's good chemistry. I see that coming through. And I think we've got options in midfield. I think that Odobert, Tell, even Mikey Moore could conceivably play there if you needed them to. And this is going to sound really crazy here, and I know that there's probably good reasons why Ange won't do it, but haven't we got like Olusesi or something like that, and the Ajayi, who are, you know, haven't played much, but when they got the chance to play, they did pretty well in there. So that's always an option too, especially if you want someone late in the game who can change the pace, change things up a little. Yeah. Young kids with fresh legs, that's one way to do it. Now, there may be good reasons why Ange wouldn't want to do that, but at least it's an option to consider.
Craig, that's a really good point from Jim about talking about the young players, and I completely agree. Whenever one of these young development players have had the opportunity, they've come into the team, either started or come off the sub bench, grabbed their opportunity, which is great to see. Obviously, I think that all of us could pick a very similar, if not the same, starting 11 that Andrew's going to put out on Wednesday. But the sub bench, that is going to be very interesting. Who do you think will be on the sub bench that evening? Do you think any of those development players will get the opportunity to sit on that sub bench in Bilbao?
I would imagine.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Yeah. I would imagine. I mean, you could kind of include Mikey more in the development because he's still kind of in between. He's been in and around the first team squad. Jay definitely, Olasesi. But on the whole, I think he's going to probably fill it out with first teamers, people that he's seen. But there will be a couple of. I think you can have up to 9 subs, can't you, on the bench in Europe, or is it 11? I can't remember, Chris. It might be 11. But there'll probably be a couple on there, yeah. But we know the players that we've got injured at the moment, like Dragusin, Kulusevski, Bergvall, Madison. So there is space going to be on there. So it's good for those kids to go along. Imagine just even sitting on the bench in a major European final. I mean, crikey, that you don't come around very often, does it? That's going to be such a good experience for them. It really is. And that stat, just going on the stats, because you know I love a stat. The fact that Spurs have scored more goals than any other team in UEFA Cup history. You know, 342 goals. That is incredible. Obviously, we've won it before, but it is incredible, isn't it? So we've got there's a history with this competition. All right, albeit it was the UEFA Cup, but there's definitely a history with this competition. So,
well, do you want another one? Do you want another one, Craig? Because
I love
our second leg victory against Bodo Glimt was our 97th UEFA Cup or Europa League win, equaling the competition record held by Roma. So if we do win on Wednesday, we will have the out-and-out record for the most wins in the Europa League and or the UEFA Cup. So that's another stat. Jim, let's come back to you because Z says here, where is all this positivity? Sorry, where is all this positivity coming from? Because I think if people would have tuned in now, they probably think we're sitting, top of the Premier League. I know we're sitting in 17th and we've had all of these bad performances and results. Where does all the positivity come from? Because as I said to you, everyone that has come on here this evening has said Spurs are going to win. Is it the fact that we are playing a poor Manchester United team and the fact that we have beaten them 3 times this season? Is this where all the positivity is coming from everyone?
It's more than just that. That's part of it. But also, if you haven't noticed, even in some of those league games where we've lost and looked bad, we had some spells where we were playing really well. That first half against Aston Villa, we played really well in that first half. And so I think that the team is feeling the positivity. Every interview I see with any of our players, they're all positive. They're all believing. They all believe in Ange. He's not lost the dressing room, that's for sure, because everyone is still playing for him. So I think there's a number of reasons. And other than just hope, as you said it earlier in the podcast, 90 minutes from glory. And that in and of itself, without anything else at all, is enough to inspire some hope and positivity. So,
Jim, before you go, have you got any questions for either Craig or Ricky?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. I just...
Actually, Jim, while you're thinking of that, let me ask you, if you were, and I've asked a few people this tonight, and I will ask Ricky right at the end of the show for this, because I won't ask him now because we might be sitting here for 20 minutes, but we're asking right at the end. If you were in front of the Spurs team 10, 15 minutes before kickoff, what would you say to these players, Jim?
I would say focus, intensity, awareness. Focus, switched on from the first minute throughout the entire game. Intensity, fire in the belly, but cool head, and awareness of where you are on the pitch, where your teammates are, awareness of where the opponents are, so that you don't inadvertently send the ball right to them. And I would just remember, fire in the belly, clear head, and remind them that you've beaten these guys before. You can beat them. Confidence, confidence, confidence. Play with confidence. That's what I would say.
Do you know what, Jim? That's brilliant. And just to give you a bit more confidence, let me tell you, I'm sure you'll know that Spurs were the first English club to win a UEFA competition, defeating Atletico Madrid in the 62-63 Cup Winners' Cup final. So we've got history in Europe. We were the first ones to do it. We're going to do it again.
Yeah. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Jim, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon when hopefully Spurs have won the Europa League.
Yep, we'll see you soon.
Cheers,
See you,
Jim.
Jim.
Speak to you soon. Ricky, by the way, don't let me down. I want a 20-minute answer. I want that motivational speak.
Yeah,
Actually, it better not be 20 minutes, because if I say that it's going to be 10 minutes before the game, so it should be about eight minutes, I suppose. Yeah, let him walk out the tunnel at least. Right, let's bring the next guest in.
That you've seen me do professional mode and you've seen me on pod mode. Pod mode, I'll go off, as you all know. But
I've also seen you after a few whiskeys as well.
Well, yeah, but
trying to get in somewhere and we can't even get entry.
Right, we've got 60 seconds, or I've been in front of somebody and they're like, all right, Rick, quick video, we've got 20 seconds. And I'll do it in 2 lines. But he's even more shocked when I do it in 20 seconds rather than bloody, just go off on one.
I know. There's a Spurs Chat podcast version where it's about 10-minute answer, and then you get like the BBC and they ask you a question. You've got to do it in 2 sentences, haven't you? You've got to do it in 30 seconds. So yeah, I get it. Right, we're now going to go to Ireland to go to Null, channel regular. Null, how are you?
Brilliant, Chris. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
You're having a great night there.
Noel, how are you feeling right now as a Spurs fan? And feel free, if you want to ask either Craig or Ricky a question, or even myself. I know we speak a lot anyway. So pile it on to Craig and Ricky. They'll love the questions. But how are you feeling right now?
I think Ricky's in the wrong profession, Chris. I think he should be motivational speaker. I think I would get him into lots of teams that are not doing very well at the minute, could do with his positivity, which I really love. He's a fantastic guy. And every word he said was fantastic. So 100% top man.
No.
And Craig, who I met in London actually a few weeks ago, doing a great job, Craig.
Thanks,
and yeah. So good, Chris.
No, let me ask you a question quickly.
Yeah.
Manchester United.
Yeah.
They last met Premier League opponents in Europe in 2015-16, Europa League round of 16, and they've lost to Liverpool. They haven't had lots of meetings with English sides, but do you think they're going to come into this? Do you think they would have rather played? Well, they probably would have rather played Bodo Glimt, but you know what I mean. Would they rather play Premiership opposition or somebody else?
I think they'd probably prefer to play somebody else, but I actually don't think we have anything really to worry about Man United. Like, we have beaten them 3 times this year already. They're not a fantastic team. I thought they were very, very fortunate in the semi-final. There was a penalty. I agree with that, but the sending off really changed the narrative of the game. And, I only saw the highlights of it, but, they were under a lot of pressure before that game changer. So I think they've had a lot of luck. They got a big stroke of luck in the semi-final. No, the quarter-final against Lyon, was it? And definitely in the semi-final, I don't think that was a sending off. So I wouldn't be worried about Man United. I think it's exactly what you guys have said. It's how everybody has to step up. There's no point in worrying about the injuries. As I always said, one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity. So somebody has got to make a name for himself on Wednesday night. And I think actually everybody has the feeling. I have that feeling as well, that this is Tottenham's year, and can't wait now to Wednesday night. Was a wee bit lethargic about it actually coming, but tonight, watching your show, I've got that spark, that excitement, and it's only 3 days away. So really looking forward to it.
Now, let's get your opinion on Tottenham's journey to the final with the games that we have played, because we've won 9, drawn 3, 2 defeats in the Europa League. What have you made of the journey to the final?
I think it was, well, first of all, I don't agree that there should have been extra games added on. This has been a very arduous season, lots of injuries. And the amount of games that we've actually played, I don't know, Chris, you probably have the stats. How many games is this going to be on Wednesday night? Is it 15 Europa League games?
Yeah, I think it's going to be our 60th game this season.
60th game, yeah. So it's been an arduous journey. The ones that stand out in my mind that were very bad was like Galatasaray and teams like that, But the last couple of games, the Frankfurt game and the Bodo Glimt game, you know, they showed a lot of professionalism in those two games and got the job done. And somebody was talking about their form, you know, how they played there and how they played in the Premier League, you know, within, you know, their fullbacks and, you know, taking lots of risks, you know. And I've got this bugbear about, you know, Spurs being too nice and this season being horsed off the ball by, you know, the likes of Newcastle and, you know, Crystal Palace, strong teams. So I think their performances, you know, have been very professional in the Europa League. And you can see that their focus has been on that for the last number of weeks. So as somebody said earlier on about 17th, I don't give a toss about 17th. You know, we were never going to get relegated, but this is a massive opportunity. And there's a game that's played in Ireland, Chris, called Hurling. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you know, the Wexford were playing in a hurling final, and I think it was 1996. And when they were crossing the border out of Wexford into Wicklow to go to Dublin, the manager of the team actually stopped the bus on the Wexford border and got everybody out of the bus and gave them a lecture on the side of the road. And he actually said to them, you know, the next time you set foot in this county, do you want to be winners or do you want to be losers? And, you know, that's the sort of mentality. And that's what I loved about, you know, how Ricky was talking. And that's the mentality and the attitude that we have to have. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think we'll win it. And I think, I'm not so sure about the score, but really looking forward to it.
Dennis? No.
Sorry. Let me have a drink here.
He'll start playing with his drawers in a minute.
Yeah. It's because Noel reminds me of Dennis Taylor, which I told him the other day because he sounds
did,
like
actually,
him.
you did, yeah.
I do apologise.
Craig, come on, man. I'm younger and I'm more handsome than
you
Dennis.
certainly.
We did actually give Noel a bit of a lesson to put his screen on landscape as well, but we've gone back to portrait.
And Chris, and it won't do it for me. It actually still keeps going it this way. So,
anyway,
I got a
all
big
that
slide
matters
that
is that
night.
you're here now. As long as you're here, mate, that's all that matters.
He's here.
Exactly.
He's here. Anyway, Dennis, Noel, whatever. Manchester United have only had one goalless draw in Europe in their last 65 games, which is an incredible stat.
Okay.
This can't be goalless and go to penalties, can it? There's going to be goals in this game. There's got to be.
Absolutely. It's not going to be. No, this is going to be. I don't like actually betting against Spurs. I don't like betting the Spurs will actually concede a goal. But every time I've actually said 2-0, it's always been 2-1. So I think it's going to be 2-1. So and Sonny to score the winner. And, you know, for him to lift the cup. And, you know, as Ricky said, it, you know, his tribute to Sonny earlier on, you know, about when Harry Kane was leaving, when all the managers were leaving, and the loyalty that guy has shown. And, you know, okay, he's fallen off the cliff a bit this season and has had a few injury problems, but his attitude is spot on. And he has got minutes in the last couple of games. And I think actually, if, say, we hadn't had the injuries, he mightn't have started. I think he's nailed on to start on Wednesday night. And I think there's a very, very big performance in him. And, you know, he has scored against Manchester United before. It's like they won't be looking forward to him raiding up the wing or down the wing. And I don't think, I mean, if you look at the two teams, I don't fancy their goalkeeper and I don't fancy their back four. Fernandes is probably, you know, one player in midfield that can make things happen. They're not wonderful up front either, you know, so why should we be worrying? I actually think, you know, if you're going out to set up a team, you know, concentrate on your own strengths and, you know, don't worry about the other team. That's exactly what you have to do.
Ricky, can I ask you? Can I ask you that?
Chris, send Ricky into the dressing room before the match, for God's sake. We're bound to win.
Well, exactly. Don't worry. You're going to hear this speech very soon. You're going to hear this speech, and you're going to hear this motivational speech from Ricky Norwood. I can't wait. We're actually going to clip it and put it out as a separate video as well because it's going to be that good. Ricky, I can't wait. Ricky, let me ask you, because we've had a number of guests on this evening so far in the last couple of hours, and I've asked them about who do you fear in this Manchester United side, and most people, if not everyone, has said Bruno Fernandes. But we can't be disrespectful to the other players in this Manchester United team, because we know that they have got individuals that are perhaps underperformed, have been inconsistent, but we've got a lot of those players as well that have been inconsistent. Is there anyone else that you would pick out and be very wary of?
I think I don't even think. Look, Bruno is the obvious danger man, but I think that they've only got. I say that. Look, Man United have got full of high reputable, highly experienced players. Have they underperformed? Yep. But they've got some players that some teams would die for. Ugarte, Casemiro, De Ligt. You know, like they've got. We was after the left back, Dorgu. You know.
Yeah.
So then they've got some good pace, and they've got good creativity on the wings in Garnacho and Ahmad. So, and then whoever who's in the middle, whether it be Xerxes or Haaland, they could turn up. Of course they could. They were bought for big money and for those moments. But for me, their biggest danger man is Harry Maguire. Believe it or not, I know that might sound a bit crazy, but I think that the only way that they score will be from a set piece. And I'm not saying that because we've been a lot better on set pieces this year, scoring them and defending them. But I see a corner, a free kick, and the only one that I can see scoring would be Harry Maguire. That would be their only goal. But they are Man United at the end of the day. They are, of course they are. They're going to come with that Man United aura that they come with when they get to cup finals. But like I say, we break the curse on the 21st. And
can I just jump in there, Rick? That's perfect timing, because I've just got an email from Tottenham saying my digital ticket for the stadium's ready to download just as you were talking about winning. So that is absolute
come on, bro.
Fate, isn't it? It's fate. I have my ticket.
It's there. And this is what I'm saying about just being afraid to believe and being afraid to go, yes, we are going to win it. You've got to remember that not only did the manager say that he wanted to win it all season, but the players have as well. They've had it in their mindset that this was the one that they all wanted to go for. And I'm not saying they didn't want to go for anything else, but due to circumstance, which we're all very well versed in, we know the ins and outs, what's happened this season. They're going for this. It's gonna make sense, mate. It makes sense, honestly. Look at, like I said about the character. Look at Vicario as a character. Look at Mickey van der Ven when he's played. Look at what a difference Mickey van der Ven has been. Everyone speaks about his pace, right? And his pace is a cheat code, but his strength and his intelligence, the way that he nips a tackle, he doesn't need to slide in half the time. He bodies them and then he nicks it off them. Do you know what I mean? Romero, we need somebody with some aggression. We haven't had, everyone speaks about leaders, and sometimes, and the biggest leader that we speak about majority of the time is Roy Keane. And he is somebody that lived on the edge and got his teammates going. How many times has Romero gone in for the crazy sliding challenge and got that yellow card? But that's because we were playing absolutely terrible, and he wanted to get everybody, like he needed to change the energy, and so that's where he'll get a silly yellow card. But people will speak about those silly yellow cards, but they won't speak about how many 90 minutes he's gone through without getting a card at all. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or sometimes he's been on the yellow card and then he's been super disciplined until the end of it. So I just see all of these players coming together and doing the damn thing. But for me, Man United's danger man, if you want to call it that, will be Harry Maguire. I think Bruno will have an influential game, but I think we're going to have him wrapped up. Do you know what I mean? I think that Mickey and Romero and whoever's that, whether it be Bentancur or Basuma in the midfield, I think that's going to be their job to lock down Fernandes. Because if you lock down Fernandes, you stop the passing channels, right? So that's where it will come down to free kicks and this and that, the other. And that's where I see Maguire being their danger man instead of Bruno.
I see what you've done there, Rick. You mentioned Roy Keane, and the next sentence you're saying, do your job. I see what you've done there. Very good, very good. Well, talking about Roy Keane, he's been talking about the Europa League final. He said you still have to fancy Manchester United. Someone like Bruno can produce. The history of Manchester United still carries a bit of weight. There's not much between them in the league, but come the crunch, come to the final, United's history in finals, them winning cups the last few years, you'd have to think that it would be more of an advantage and more knowledge around the game than Spurs. That might edge it for them. And I think Bruno can produce that bit of magic. And it's interesting what Craig said earlier about Gary Neville, the fact that Fernandes would be the only player to get in the Spurs team. Interesting stuff from two former Manchester United legends.
Neville's scared, bro. Like, sorry. Neville's scared because he's actually enjoyed watching Tottenham, especially under Ange Postecoglou. The amount of time that he's waxed lyrical about us, and yes, he's criticised us, but he it's almost like when you ask me about my positivity sort of thing, it's because I've seen us be great, right, under this manager and playing this way, and I'm hoping and praying, you know, like every league game, that this is the week where he's going to click back into gear and we're going to get going. It's happened like that, and we've managed it differently, very professionally, but it's happened like that in the Europa. And I think it all culminates when it gets to the Europa. Neville saying that's a massive admission to me of him being scared of what can happen on the day under a manager like Ange, because everybody thinks that he's only going to do plan A. When he comes out with something else, everybody's going to be a bit confused, and it's going to work for us. With Roy, he comes from that Man United family. You know, he knows that, and everything that he said is true. It's true. But it ends on Wednesday because I think all of their goodwill was ran out. They've had too much. Do you know what I mean? I swear it was only last year they won the FA Cup. What did they do with it this year? Nothing. They're just above us. You know, like I said, this is what Man United has been for a long time. It's been this. This is a blip for us. We've had a bad season, and you know, and we know why. You know, we know what's been going on. But we're here. We're here at the same place, and when we turn up, and when we play the football that we're gonna play, it's gonna settle it. It's settling it. We break the curse on the 21st.
No, whatever happens in this final, is Ange Postecoglou the Tottenham Hotspur boss next season?
Wow, that's a question, Chris. I actually think that if he wins it, he might sail off into the sunset and say, you know, I'm going to take another opportunity somewhere else. So I'm not sure. It's a very hard question.
Okay.
If he wins it, probably will stay, but wouldn't surprise me if he just walked away with the amount of crap that he's had to take this season, you know?
No, I'll give you an easier one, which I think we're all going to agree on this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Predicted 11. What 11 would you like to see Ange Postecoglou go with on Wednesday night?
Well, I think it's going to be for the normal back five is Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, Johnson, Basuma, Bentancur, Son, Solanke, and possibly Richarlison.
Is that the 11 you'd have, Craig?
I wouldn't have Richarlison in the opening 11. No. I would have Johnson.
No, he did seem to fancy him, you know, for 60 minutes, you know. Possibly. Yeah. Well, if it's not Richarlison, there's somebody else.
I would have. I would. If you're talking, my team would be Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, probably Sarr, Bentancur, and Bissouma, because I don't think he's going to risk any players that are going to go in there that haven't perhaps played there, and it will be Johnson, Solanke, and Son. That's my start.
Okay, so you're going for one extra midfield player.
Yeah, I think you'll have three in the middle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I agree with you, Craig. What about you, Rick? Is that the team that you think that might start Wednesday night?
I got a feeling that he's going to do what he done against Villa, which is either throw in like a wild card and put Odegaard in the 10, or chuck Sonny in the 10 and put Odegaard or Tell on the left. I think he'll do something like that. I think that he's thinking about Richarlison as an off-the-bench impact sub come 65, 70 minutes. You know, somebody that can actually come from the left-hand side and get on a header or get on goal. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think I would go with the same team, but Bentancur, Basuma in midfield with Odegaard or Tell, Odegaard or Sonny in the 10, and Sonny or Tell on the left. Or Odegaard.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Noel, before you leave us, give us a score prediction and how will you be watching the game? Who will you be watching with, and how will you be celebrating if Spurs lift the trophy?
Well, as Chris said, there's only one person I'll be watching with. Is you've met him, my son Gary, who is a massive Spurs fan. We were talking about it today. We live actually in a town called Navan. It's about 40 minutes from Dublin, and I'll give the pub, Clark's Pub, a shout, but it'll be full of Man United fans. That's the problem. You know, there's very few of us around, but we'll be definitely celebrating. And he's so much taller than me. And every time when in the stadium, the last time when Johnson scored within the first minute, he jumped all over me and nearly injured me. So it's yeah, that's where I'll be watching, Chris. I'll be thinking of you, obviously, and Craig. Are you going, Ricky, as well? Yeah.
I'm going to try and get down here. So I'm going to try and get down to the stadium right now. So I promised my friend and my godkids that I'd watch it with them. So we're trying to get everybody, but it's about the kids and logistics, but we're trying to get everybody to the stadium.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I think it's going to be a wonderful occasion. And
yeah,
I think the history is there's something in the water, something in the air. And of course, I work with an awful lot of Man United fans, and I keep trying to tell them that of course they'll win, try to get a few mind games and make them all think, that their superiority will make all the difference, massage their egos, that's what it is. Yeah. I'm sure you've often done that, Ricky. I'm sure you do it as well. You play mind games with them,
No, I done it with, a so-called Man United fan today. I say so-called because he's one of those that were born West Ham, but then at one point transitioned to Man United. So, I don't get it, but you know what it is. And the, like I say, like the arrogance and the thing of like, we are nothing. Like, we're not even, we don't even, it doesn't matter what team we put out or what happens, because we're wearing a cockerel on our chest, they're just going to roll over us. And that's fine. Keep bringing that. I like that they come with that arrogance and that full sense of security, because when we slap them upside their head, they're not going to know what hit them. They're going to be confused. They're going to be looking at Amarim on the sidelines asking for, what now what? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Chris,
do you know what?
Chris, would you not give Ange a ring and get him on the plane?
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I'm completely the opposite. I know a lot of Manchester United fans, and they are very, very worried about this game. I haven't met or spoke to any arrogant ones saying that they think they're going to win this game, because they know how poor. They've got to be realistic. They've got to be realistic about it. They know how poor they've been.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway,
Noel, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to speaking to you again when hopefully Spurs have won the Europa League.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Frank.
When we win.
Okay, Ricky.
When?
Thank you very
Cheers,
much.
Noel.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ricky, we can't come across as too arrogant. I know we're confident, but we can't come across as arrogant.
It's just facts, bruv. When, mate?
Right, let's bring on our next guest. We've got Dennis with us. Dennis, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Chris and Craig. And how are you all?
Hello, Dennis.
Very good.
I'll call you Noel because I called Noel Dennis. So.
When you said Dennis earlier, Craig, I thought, I'm not on. Now he's got it.
Pure coincidence, honestly.
Yeah.
He's got you on the brain, Dennis. He's got you on the brain.
That's it.
Exactly.
Dennis, how are you feeling ahead of this Manchester United final?
I've had a gut feeling for the last 2-3 weeks that we're going to win. And I'm hopeful that we are going to win 2-1. Same score as you, Chris.
Very good. Who's going to score, Dennis?
Yeah, I think I'm going to throw a real curveball in. I'm going to say Romero and Porro. I just got this feeling about those at the back. Hopefully I'll be right, but who knows?
Dennis, who do you want to see more from in this Spurs side? Because I know, to add a little bit of balance here, I know that every single person that has come on this channel this evening, 2.5 hours in, and everyone has said that Spurs are winning this game. But can we be overconfident going into this game? I know Ricky's saying when we win it, but we don't know what Spurs is going to turn up. A final, anything can happen. Who do you want to see more from in this Tottenham Hotspur team?
Firstly, Chris, what I would like to say was, if I was a Manchester United manager, I would show him this podcast, because if there was anything that they'd want, you know, you're showing everyone, as you said, everyone says Spurs going to win.
But the thing is, Dennis, every single time we record these fan shows, we have literally a 50-50 split of people being very positive about Spurs. You know, Ricky's had a bit of flack. I've had a bit of flack. Craig's had a bit of flack this season, because when we say something how we feel, you know, it might not, you know, people might not agree with how we feel. You know, we could feel very positive about something. People feel very negative about it. And normally on these fan shows, you get a 50-50 mix. But tonight it's been 100%.
100%. And I honestly do feel we're going to win. I hope I'm right. But going back to your question, who do I want to step up? I mean, Son is, I know, bless him, he has to, if he starts, he's got to be on it from minute one. Mm-hmm. No, you know, what you said, you asked a question earlier, Chris, about players. If you're going to ask someone at the end of the game, have you given your all? That is the main thing about this game. I want every single player to come off that pitch saying they gave 100%, because if they don't give 100%, we lose that game. And that is the most important thing. Not one player, every single player has to give 100%. End of story.
Dennis, I'll go to Ricky, but while we're talking, if you think of any questions that you'd like to ask any one of us, feel free in a second. Ricky, want to come to you. Let's talk a little bit about the starting 11 you think Ange will go with. I know we spoke about that a couple of minutes ago, but the game changes on the bench. Who would you like to see come off the bench, say 20-30 minutes to go? Because Craig mentioned earlier that he would be worried if it was 0-0 after, say, 70 minutes. Who can change the game in the last 20 minutes? Is that the case where you could bring a Son off the bench if he didn't start, or Tell? You know, what have you made of him? Odegaard, I know you're a big fan of him. You know, but I tell you what an opportunity it would be for a player to come off the bench, 20 minutes to go, 0-0. Come on, change the game, grab that winner, either provide the killer assist or bang one in the top corner. And I've got goose pimples just saying that.
You know what it is, Chris? I think
I'm getting carried away.
For the first time in a long time, we've got options that come off the bench. And this is where, you know, our squad throughout the season has been so decimated that we've been starved of options. But right now, like you just said, we've got Tell, we've got Odegaard, we've got Richarlison that can come off the bench. Yeah. We've got Jed Spence that can come off the bench and change the game at, you know, at times. We've seen his will to run. We've seen his desire, and when he's at his best, how even Jed can change a game. So I think whatever we need come 60, 70 minutes, I think we'll be fine. I think Solanke's got enough in his legs to have the 90 minutes up front. I think he's vital and really important to the way that we attack and how dangerous we can be, and bringing those wingers in. I think we've got enough to come off of the bench right now to change the game. The obvious ones that we're missing, Bergvall, obviously, and look at that. As a kid that came in, and at the beginning of the season when he had a few games, there was some fans, not all fans, but some would say maybe he needs a loan. Maybe he needs to get out there, you know, a bit lightweight sort of thing. We can see flashes of brilliance, but maybe a bit but then he's had the amount of games that he's had. And look, he's turned into a player who, at this moment in a final, just turned 19 years old. All of us are like, oh no, not what Bergvall's not there. Like, oh mate. And everybody's wishing for Bergvall to be there. You know, that might be another game changer. He might be on the bench and he might be able to come on with 25 minutes to go and change the game. So Mikey Moore might be one. Like, we've got options, mate. For the first time in a long time, I think we've got options. And I think that every single player that is going to start or come off the bench or be there on Wednesday night are going to be up for doing this job. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be up for doing this job and for breaking that curse and going out there and kind of achieving the greatness and the glory that is just before them. I think that they're in that mindset. I think that they're in that mindset, bro, to put everything in.
Ricky, can I just ask a question there? Would you throw a curveball in for the start of the game? Would you start someone like Spence at right back and push Pyro up into midfield?
Yeah, I spoke about it earlier, Dennis. But so the only thing I would, right? I could and I would, but the only thing that troubles me just a little bit is the last couple of league games. And look, we know what the league form's been like, but the last couple of league games, Spencer's looked a bit off it. And I think that against Aston Villa, especially at right back, which we're talking about, he switched off. You know, like nothing went well for him. Nothing well for him. He tried to block. He ended up sliding out the way and allowing Aston Villa a shot. He tried to tackle. He missed the tackle. He tried to bomb up the field. It'd get, you know, there were certain things where nothing went well for him. So I do think he has the capacity, right, to go in there and rise to the occasion, because we saw that what was it? Was it Forest? We saw it at Forest before we bought him. We've seen that he's that type of player, and I think that he would relish a final. I think that he would. But we haven't had that unit of Udogie, Porro, Van der Ven, and Romero and Vicario together that much. And I think that unit that can stay together is more valuable to us than putting Porro as the number 10. I think we've got enough attackers up there that can do a job, or that can do a similar job to what Porro can, if not a little better, because they're natural attackers. But for me, it's more valuable that we keep that back four the same with Vicario in goal, because everybody knows how everybody else plays, and that chemistry, that understanding, and that knowing of the runs and who to mark and who to cover when things get stretched. I think that knowledge and that unity that we've got with those five, I think it's more valuable in that final than pushing Porro up front.
Good answer. Chris, can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
You're in the know. Bergvall, is he there or thereabouts or not?
I think it's going to be an interesting one. Ange come out and said that he's not going to make it. But then we have heard this before from Ange. Yes, I've spoken to a lot of people, and yes, he's back training, but it doesn't really mean a great deal, because sometimes the recovery process takes a long time. Ange said on the last press conference that he's not going to make it because he's a couple of weeks away. Had it have been like a week or two later, he might have made it. But I don't think that Ange would have lied about this one, so I can't see him making it, sadly. But I do think he's had a fantastic season for us, because he has certainly been one of the shining lights for us this season. And as I said earlier, 11 Premier League starts. I think it says a lot, for someone that's only had 11 Premier League starts, and clean sweep in the awards from the official supporters clubs. 3 awards for him. So he's got a very, very bright future. But I feel gutted. Like I stand by what Ange said. I feel gutted for Maddison, Kulusevski and Bergvall, taking out 3 creative players, 3 decent players that we know that can turn a game, especially in a big game like this. But like I keep saying, and like Ricky's also said, you can be heroes. Go out there, take your opportunity. This is a 90-minute game. Sod whatever else has happened this season. Yes, we've been for a very, very rough time as Spurs fans, particularly on this podcast when we're recording minutes after the final whistle and we've just lost yet another Premier League game, and we're talking about it and sitting there all miserable. But this game, 90 minutes away from Champions League football, 90 minutes away from a lot of money being injected into the football club from UEFA and co. And, Champions League football at the stadium next year would just be incredible. Not to mention a trophy being paraded down the high road, which I can't wait if that happened. It'd be amazing. I'm sure that all of us will feel extremely emotional seeing Son and co lift a trophy down the high road, because we've waited for it for so long. But in answer to your question, Dennis, I can't see Bergvall making it. But, like I always say as well, you never know in football. If I was a player, if I was Bergvall, Maddison, Kulusevski, obviously not because he just had surgery, but if you were a player, you'd be doing everything in your power, everything to be making that game. There should be no motivational speaks from anyone. You as a an individual, as a footballer, with that dream to, play in finals, play in big matches, they would be doing everything in their power to get there. And I've no doubt that Bergvall is probably saying in his head, I can make it, I can make it. So you never know in football, but my gut feeling is that he won't make it, sadly.
Good answer.
I'll give you a little bit of hope, Dennis, right? The one thing that I've noticed about Ange is he doesn't like medical questions, and he never really gives a specific answer, right?
Yeah.
So those that are out for the length of time, remember when Mikey Moore was out and he was like, I don't even like you asking the question. He's a 17-year-old boy. His medical history is his medical history. So we know that he doesn't really like to answer the question. So when he says Bergvall's out, to me, it's almost like we're going to protect him. We're going to let everybody know now that he's not playing. So that gives him, less pressure to be there on the final, and also to not give a hand, to not show a card to Man United and go, we're going to have him on the bench. Do you know what I mean? So I think that he might be playing mind game chess, because he doesn't like this question anyway. And just for peace sake, he's not going to be there. And then when he is on the bench, like I think it was Mickey van der Ven and Romero, the first time they came back, they just suddenly sprung up on the bench when they're supposed to
do you
be
know
out
what?
for another week or so.
Do you know what with that, Ricky? When they came back, the journalist hadn't even asked the question about those, and all of a sudden, bang, they were back in the squad. And I love that. I absolutely love that, because some of these so-called in the knows, they didn't know about it at all. The journalists didn't even ask the questions because they just assumed that they were out. It was such a great thing. I love that. I love the fact that they've just come back and no one knew anything about it. Dennis, before you go, where will you be watching the game? Who with? And how will you be celebrating if we lift the trophy?
So first thing, there's a big group of us all went to Madrid. Unfortunately, some of us didn't get enough points. 2 of us did. I didn't get enough points. 2 of my friends are going to Bilbao, so great for them. Love it. Thought about going to the stadium, but then I've got family back here in Buckinghamshire, so we're all going to a pub. Going to watch it in the pub. Hopefully, we will win. And yes, I will be celebrating like you've never known before, Chris. Trust me. Trust me.
Oh, I love it. I tell you, I can't wait to see all the videos online. If we do lift this trophy on Wednesday, I think it's going to be absolutely mayhem. How some people are going to go back to work the next day.
All the best of luck in your trip. Hope it goes well. Enjoy it. Send all my regards to all the fans, and let's bring that back for us.
Dennis, you've been great. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you on the show in the near future.
Cheers, Craig. Cheers, Nicky. Cheers, Chris.
Dennis.
Thank you.
Cheers, Dennis. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
I tell you, Ricky, we love doing these fan shows. The amount of people, great Spurs fans, by the way, that we talk to all around the world. We're now going to go all the way to New York to speak to Terry. Terry, how are you?
Hey guys, how are you guys? How's everyone?
Very good.
What's going on, Terry?
Hey, Ricky, good to see you. Craig, good to see you. Chris, good to see you. I'm loving the positivity. It's been rare these days, huh? But it seems almost universally positive across the board. Oh.
Well, I'm waiting for the balance to kick in. I'm waiting for someone to come on and go, "What's wrong with you lot? Why do you think we're winning?"
Yeah. I
know that's not going to be you.
No. I mean, I'm still nervous. I'm already nervous, to be honest. It's I don't think it's going to be an easy game. Because it's never easy with us, right? So I fully expect to suffer through every second and every minute of those 90 minutes, and hopefully it's only 90 minutes. Hopefully it doesn't go any longer than that. But yeah, quietly confident that we can take this home. I'm kind of I think you mentioned this earlier, just kind of taking inspiration from not only just Crystal Palace but from Newcastle as well. I was by no means my fans of either of those teams, but it was really good to see how much it meant to both of those teams and to the fans. Some of the Crystal Palace celebrations yesterday are just wow. Yeah, I really don't like that club, but I was really happy for them. I'm really happy for those fans.
Terry, are you happy we're playing another English club, or would you rather have played anybody else in the competition other than English?
I I would rather play the weakest team possible, and I think for the teams that are on that side,
Arsenal aren't in it, mate. Arsenal aren't in it.
What's that?
Arsenal aren't in the competition. We can't play them.
Right.
And they have issues getting to European finals.
Yeah. You know, it kind of, I don't want to jinx it, but it kind of feels like the stars have kind of aligned for us in this tournament, because for us to be on this side of the draw rather than Man U's side of the draw, I think it was we had easier teams, and then a lot of other teams knocked out the teams that I thought were the favorites for this. So Galatasaray was knocked out, Lazio was knocked out, Roma was knocked out, and then I thought Atletico Madrid was the best team left in the tournament. I'm sorry, Atletico Bilbao was the best team left in the tournament. So I was actually rooting for Man U because I thought that I think they're a weaker side. It doesn't look like it now that Nico Williams is out for Atletico Bilbao, but I feel like we've gotten lucky. I think a lot of the tough teams have been eliminated for us already. So yeah, quietly confident going into this game. The biggest question for me going into this, though, is that are we going to play Ange ball, which we played and beat Man United with 3 times, or are we going to play this more pragmatic style?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Without a lot of the possession, but a lot more solid in the back that we've seen the last few Europa League games. I'm really curious to see how the boys come out in this, and I'm kind of torn on what to do, because it's felt a lot more comfortable when we've ceded possession and we've been a lot more stout in the back rather than going full on. But it worked 3 times already against Man U, so not quite sure what we do.
That was going to be my next point, actually, or my next question. Ricky, perhaps we'll bring you in here on this one, because like Terry alluded to there, how does Ange Postecoglou approach this game? Like a Premier League game or like a Europa League game? Because when I speak to a number of Manchester United fans, they equally say exactly the same as what I have said many, many times on this podcast, that we are a different animal in the Europa League to what we are in the Premier League. And Terry said there, Athletic Bilbao, it looked like they were going to be really good opposition. Manchester United beat them very comfortably in the end. And, Man United fans have said exactly the same. We're different in the Europa League.
Yeah, and that's good for them, and it's good for us. But what I would say is Ange is a cup specialist, He loves to win a trophy. And I think whichever way that he wants to set us up, with whatever direction, whatever energy, whatever style, I think for this, trust him, trust the team, that they know what they're gonna, they know what they need to do, and they know what they need to go out there to do. Yeah, and I think that they will be all ready. I think they'll all be prepared, and we've had very similar seasons, us and Man United this year. So really and truly, it is a fair matchup when it comes down to the final. But I don't know. I would just say trust Ange, man. So if Ange wants to do it the way that he wants to do it, just trust him, because it's worked against Frankfurt, it's worked against Bodo, it's worked up until the final. He's had a plan, and let's roll with the plan. The only thing that I want us to do is play the way that we play, believe in the way that we play. Like I think it was Jim that was saying earlier, don't worry too much about what they're going to bring to the table. Of course you have to. It's being professional. You have to. Yeah. But you don't have to worry to the point or stressing to the point of the early hours studying, all of the games that previously been played by Man United. I think you can trust them. And I think that you can trust them to go out there and do what they need to do, and first and foremost perform. A lot of these players that have been on rest, they're frustrated as well. They're bursting to play. They even though that some missed the game on against Aston Villa, and they were probably happy to miss it so that they're fit for the game, but they've missed the game of football. And these players are they love the game, So they've been missing games here and there. This is their chance. This is their opportunity, and we're gonna go out there to show every single player out there is gonna go give everything that they've got and show all of us fans what we've been missing all season. You know, they're going to show us the real version. So whichever way that is, whether it starts more pragmatic, more controlled, and then we hit them on the break, or we turn into Angeball in the second half, I'm trusting the manager because he knows what he's doing. He believed that we was going to win this before a lot of us. I wouldn't say Gary Maloney. Gary Maloney is known for a long time. And, I think we're going to win every game. But, I think the boss is known. I think Postecoglou is known what this plan was for a long time. And injuries will keep disrupting that plan. But look how he stands up. And at this point, he's not worried. He'll go, okay, cool. We will adapt because that's what we've had to do all season. And so I'm going to trust the process of what he puts out there. Whatever that is, I'm happy with it.
Craig, before you go to Terry, I just want to ask you this. And I know I asked you a very similar question after the Villa game on that podcast, but who has prepared better for this final? Because Manchester United virtually went at full strength, losing at Chelsea 1-0 on Friday night. We made so many changes Friday night at Aston Villa. And the interesting part is that, Van de Ven, Romero, your doggy didn't even travel to Aston Villa. They wouldn't have played for 2 weeks. Is that better preparation for us that they haven't played those games, or would you have preferred them to play some minutes at Aston Villa? Because I know a lot of the fan base, particularly online, they were saying, just put the youngsters out. Don't put any of these guys on the bus. But is that the right preparation in your opinion?
I'll probably be able to more accurately answer that about 10:30 on Wednesday evening. But in truth, I'd have rather rested our players like Van de Ven and Romero because they could always get injured. And I know training is not like a game. We know it's not, but it's all about just keeping fit. I think professional footballers, if they don't play for 13 days, I don't think that's going to affect their performance. If anything, they should be fresh and ready. And it's a final at the end of the day, so they should be up for it. And I'm sure they will be up for it. So I think we've done it right. I can get why Manchester United played their strong team, you could say. I don't know whether Ahmed played the other night. I didn't watch any of the Man U game, really. He worries me as a player, as along with Bruno Fernandes and Maguire. And Maguire, not because he's a particularly talented footballer, but because he's absolutely, he's unique from set pieces in that he can just pile in. And obviously, we've seen him for England, the amount of headers he can win in there. So the rest of the United squad are much of a muchness. It doesn't really matter to me whether they've had minutes in their legs or not. I think we're man for man, pound for pound. I think we've got the better squad and the better team. It's going to be all about moments, this game on Wednesday. Don't expect a pretty performance. I don't think either side are going to put out a pretty performance. It's going to be just about getting the job done. And it's just a case of which side can do it. Manchester United in the past, we know that they know how to get over the line because of the sheer amount of trophies they've won. But this is a different Manchester United as we've seen. At Old Trafford, they were not lions and tigers. They were domestic cats. We absolutely tore them apart. Van de Ven tore them apart, with that run through the side, and Croston Johnson was smiling and celebrating before he knocked that first goal in. We've seen how bad they can be. They do seem to be, the only thing that worries me, they do seem to be coming into a bit of form and getting players back. Mason Mount is not a bad footballer. I don't think he's one of the best, but he's not a bad footballer. He's come back into that team and played well. I suppose he concerns me a bit. I'll come on to you about that, Terry. Which Manchester United players concern you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Fernandes. Although we have frustrated him in the past. I agree with you about Diallo. I think he's pretty dynamic. I think he's a bit worrying. He did start the other night against Chelsea, correct? And then
90 minutes as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, did
and
he?
then I'm not
Okay.
sure quite what's happened to Kobe Manu. I mean, he looked great, but it doesn't seem like he's really fancied by Emerin there. But he's another one who I think can be really dynamic and a bit scary. Mason Mount, I think he had a couple. I think he had a couple goals in that last game. I don't know. He seems to be so inconsistent. But like you said, Craig, I think what gives me hope about this game is if both teams play to their full level, I fully expect us to win. I think we're more physical. I think we're stronger than them. I think we're faster than them. We would have to play a poor game, and Man U have to play a really good game for them to win this. So that's what gives me confidence in this. But it really is about all of our players just being really locked in and not having any lapses of concentration, because we've had so much of that. If I was Ange, that's what I would be telling them. Just for 90 minutes, just take it 1 minute at a time, really, and just without any lapses of concentration, have the aggressiveness that we know that we can have with the pressing, and just see the game through. It's gosh, we can taste it, right? It's so close. It is so close, and I just have this vision of Sonny raising that trophy again, and it's a magnificent trophy too. It's a big one. And if that doesn't happen, my gosh, I don't. It's unfathomable for that not to happen. I think I don't know what would happen to us if that were to be the case. So, are you guys still there?
It will be a very, very tough summer. I can tell you that. If it didn't happen, it'd be very, very tough. There'd be hardly any content going out. I'll tell you that.
It'll be all Craig.
It would be all Craig, exactly. Yeah, Craig would have taken over the channel, and I would have, be crying somewhere. I think.
I'll be drowning my sorrows in a bar with Norwood.
Actually, that's the plan.
Either way, we win, it's going to be tears of joy, and we lose, it's just going to be just utmost sorrow. So it's hopefully it's the tears of joy.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, Craig. Whether we win or lose, we'll be in the pub with Ricky Norwood. That's the plan. Yeah.
Fine with me.
Terry, last question for you. I've asked a lot of people this evening about what they would say, minutes before the final to the team. If you had that opportunity, what would you say to the team?
Gosh, it's just that intensity that I talked about, just kind of taking it minute by minute. I'd say something to the effect of, when we don't have the ball, pretend it's the 89th minute and we're up by 1, right? And defend like we're just defending that 1 goal lead. And when we do have the ball, pretend it's the 89th minute and we're down a goal, and we're doing everything we can to score, and just keep that intensity on both sides of the ball for the entire 90 minutes. It's I think we have the players to do it. I am a little worried about that midfield. It's looking like it's going to be Sarr, Basuma, and Bentancur. So the creativity is going to have to come from probably Porro and Son, right? But somehow, some way, we just need to get a couple in there. So,
Terry, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the game on Wednesday. Let's hope that the next time we speak to you, we'll be Europa League winners. But thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Speak to you soon.
Take care. Safe travels, everyone. Safe travels.
Right, we're now going to go to Cy the Fox. Cy, how are you?
I'm good. How we doing, chaps? We all good?
What's going on, Cy?
It's been a very positive show, Cy. It's been very positive.
Yeah, I've been living the dream. I've been in a jacuzzi most of the weekend, so I'm relaxed and looking forward to celebrating on Wednesday evening.
I thought the beard looked a bit fluffy.
Yeah, couldn't get any conditioner in it, Rick.
I wasn't even going to go there.
Goes a bit like that in chlorine, doesn't
it? I've had a few birds in there as well.
Come on, Craig, get a question in quick.
I was trying to think of another joke. Sorry.
I don't know if you've noticed, guys. I've taken on Noel's mantra. I've gone landscape.
I've noticed. Yeah.
Noel,
I was going to say something about Uncle Albert, but I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. not going to go
mate.
there. I like Si too much.
You could go there.
What can you look surprised like he did when Rodney said something?
All right, mate. Fancy putting your head on upside down.
I tell you, these shows are very different to the podcast. In the podcast, I feel like we're all very serious, and it's all very serious, and we're all minute by minute, and we're talking about players. Everything's very serious. As soon as we get on the fan show, they're completely different, and the subjects we cover as well, very different.
We just start abusing the guests and like calling them by their wrong names. So unprofessional. So let me ask you a question. Spurs v Manchester United. Who would you have rather played? Would you have rather played Manchester United or Bilbao?
Neither of those two, if I'm being perfectly honest.
No, really?
Yeah,
well,
because...
no, you ain't got that. Come on, one of the two.
No, but I'm saying if it was me, I wouldn't have wanted to play Bilbao in their home stadium.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Man United, I wouldn't have wanted to play because they're an English team. That being said, once it was Bilbao and United, for me, United is the easier of the two options, to be quite honest. Because I say, for the home advantage and everything else, I think would have played into it big time if we were playing Bilbao.
Yeah. It's difficult though, isn't it? Because I was thinking, look, I've had this. I said it on our group. I've said it on the shows. It would be so typical Tottenham to play Manchester United 4 times in the season and lose the one game that meant the most. We've all thought it, you know.
I can't be having any of that. I've been banging on you boys now for yonks and yonks and yonks. We're winning this. Nothing's going to change my mind. I won't even let the thought enter my head, and that's why on Friday night, I went out on the lash because I didn't want any negativity to come into my being. So, yeah, I didn't. But I just think that, you know, we've got too much for them anyway. And I put in the comments earlier on, our back six decides this game. So if Vic and the back four plus Bentancur play as they should play, we've got more than enough to handle anything they can throw at us. I think that you know, Rodri needs to do a job on Fernandes, which he's more than capable of doing. Get that bit of the game, you know, sort of buttoned up, and then I think we've got enough to win it. But I've put in the comments earlier on that I still think it'll be penalties and Sonny's winning the penalty, and I just get everyone going, no.
So, what have you made of the job that Ruben Amorim has done at Manchester United? Are they a better team than when Erik ten Hag was there? Because, you know, they're in a very poor league position. They've had to go through a rebuild. He's had to offload a number of players, either on a permanent basis or a loan deal. You know, that was a tough job to walk into. What have you made of the job that he's done? And I know everyone keeps going on about, oh, we've played them 3 times this season, we've won every one of them. But I feel like this one is going to be a very, very different game. But at the same time, Spurs have got to give everything. Every player, if they want to be a hero, they need to give everything and perform. But what have you made of the job that he's done? Are they more of a difficult side to beat now, or an easier side to beat?
Well, if you look at the last game we played for them, when Maddison scored and it was 1-0, that kind of showed me what Amorim is trying to do to them. He might not have got it just right yet, but in terms of, he's a bit like Ange as far as I'm concerned, in terms of he hasn't got the materials to really do what he wants to do. So he's kind of making the best of a job with the assets he's got at his disposal. So for me, am I surprised Manchester United have been at best inconsistent, at worst poor? Probably not. But like I say, that's because of you know, what he's got to work with. Do do I expect them to come up with anything that surprises me, or Amorim to do anything that surprises me on Wednesday night? Not a chance, because you know how he's going to set up, you know what their formation is going to be, and you know how they're going to try and win the game. So if you've got all that knowledge in advance, you really ought to be able to bottle them up, no matter what they try to throw at us. But to direct answer to your question, Chris, he's done no better or worse than I thought he'd do, because a bit like Spurs with underinvestment and troubles at the top, he's walked into a shit show as much as And walked into a shit show. So to me, it's as expected, to be perfectly honest.
Do we play
Ricky.
Ange ball against Manchester United, Si?
No, we do what we've done in Europe all the way through. We just play sensible, pick them off when we get our chances, and do what we've done in Europe, which is when the chances have come. To be fair to Spurs, for all of our failings this season, we've been critical in Europe when the moment or our chance has come. So I say play it exactly the same. My biggest disappointment is that, again, this comes down to the personnel available, but perhaps at times we should have taken that approach a little bit in the Premier League. But, it's manager's decision, I suppose, ultimately.
Ricky, what do you make of if Manchester United win this competition, they will have a barbecue? If Spurs win this competition, we will have a parade. Now, I think the fact that they've said there's a barbecue is because there is a money shortage, and plus because they are going to prepare to go on a tour straight after the season. But, Spurs fans, us, we need this parade down the high road, don't we? We need it desperately.
Absolutely. And I think that's more to do with the energy around it. This is what I'm saying. I think it means more to every single Tottenham fan out there. Craig was saying earlier how much history we've got with this particular trophy. It makes sense that it be the first European trophy that we lift to send us on to the new chapter, to the next chapter, to the new book. And the reason that, Tottenham will go all out and have a high road and have an open top bus and be celebrating all day and have a parade and do all of those things is because of how much it means to us. The Champions League and the money for us, is the cherry on the cake, but we're interested in that cake. We want to lift that trophy. And I think that means that makes such a difference. I heard about Evra, who was it? I think it was Evra. There was a couple of Man United players that ended up saying that I'd buy tickets. I think Amorim said he'd buy 30 tickets for their staff. I think Evra done one, and then somebody else done one as well. Bruno Fernandes. I think he ended up getting like 60 or something like that to get people over there.
Yeah.
So 1 minute they're saying they ain't got no money, but then the next minute we've just heard, only 5 minutes ago that they're going to buy Cunha from Wolves for 62.5 mil. What we talking about here? So what we talking about here? So, Man United have got their own problems, but you know what? That let them have their own problems. Let them deal with their own problems. And this is what I'm saying. I think they're all of their kind of their Man Unitedness, their goodwill, I think it's done. I think it's over. Like they're not just gonna get it because they're Man United on Wednesday. No, not this time. No, not this time. It's not happening.
Well, Rick, it's funny that they're going to do a barbecue. We're having an open top bus, but apparently the Chick King are giving free meals to everybody if we win it. So I'd rather have that than the barbecue, if I'm honest.
We'll come down to Cornwall for a barbecue, Si.
You welcome, mate.
It's the only time he trims his beard over the barbie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's a good point. If we win, Si, you're going to cut the beard. You're going to cut the beard if we win.
Yeah, but chefs put a thing over their head when they cook. I put one over my beard so as it doesn't all drop in the food.
So, honestly, that beard is such a work of art. You could start your own OnlyFans with that. I'm telling you, bro. You'd earn a mint. Bro. Forget all of this stuff. Just rub the chin over the camera. Honestly, 50 quid. There you go. Look.
Craig just said about getting it cut. I'm going to actually have it plaited in honour.
Like it.
White,
Go
put a bit of
Vikings.
blue.
Toys.
A bit of blue,
Yeah.
Blue and white stripes and plaited. It looked wonderful.
So, last question for you, because I know I'm going to get told off by Craig. We're meant to be doing a 2-hour show.
Sorry,
we're nearly 3 hours 15 in. So, Craig, apologies. I know you're going to tell me off after this.
He's been putting together the IKEA desk set while we've been chatting, bro. He's like, forget the drawers. He started a whole new bookshelf.
Mr. and Mrs. Spank are going to take a trip to Bottyland.
I can tell when Craig's getting tired because his head goes down a little bit more and we can hardly see him. So his head goes down.
I'm more concerned about my back. I'm in absolute agony sitting here, but we're all talking good about Tottenham, so it's kind of numbing the pain. So
honestly, sometimes if Craig weren't with me, I think these shows would go on for about 10 hours because I just love to talk about Spurs to everyone. So, sorry, last question for you before we bring on our last couple of guests. In terms of starting 11, a few of us have disagreed with what we think we should do. Starting 11, Craig and I agreed with one another. If you were to choose the starting 11 Wednesday, who would you go for?
I'm going for Vicky in goal, Pedro, Cootie, Mickey, and Destiny, the back four. And I'm going with Biss, and I'm going with Rodri in the midfield. Then my front three, I'm going to go with Brennan on the right. I'm going with Richie on the left, and I'm actually gonna throw a wild card, and I'm gonna play Odebear at number 10.
Okay.
So you're one player light there, Si.
Oh, am I?
So,
Dom up front.
Yeah, don't give him too much of an advantage by playing 10.
Well, I only think that's all we need.
The arrogance of it, you see.
No, it's good. It's called confidence, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
Don't they call it manifesting?
Yeah. Si, thank you so much for coming on.
Dom up front, and then, like I said, I think we're winning it. So I'm not going to change my tune now, boys.
Yeah, I know. I say publicly, Si, every single time I've seen him or spoke to him, he said that we're winning it. He's you and Gary Maloney have been very similar in your opinions and your beliefs.
And don't forget, you've got that other treat, Chris, as well, because you got me and Leo doing the show in our pants or something next time we come on. Is that right?
I won't hold you to it. Don't worry. I will definitely not hold you to that. The viewing figures are excellent. I don't want them to go down. So
no, we're going to save that for your OnlyFans side. That's what we're going to do.
I'm sure I'm going to be inundated with requests now saying, will Ricky Norwood be doing it in his pants if we win as well?
He can't, Chris, because he doesn't wear any. He's a star. He's known as Commando Ricky in certain circles.
Only few people know that, though, so don't give away the secrets.
My God, what sort of fan show are we going to have if we actually win this thing? That's what I want to know.
Drunk one.
Wow.
Gary's doing a special show for us.
Right.
Si, thank you so much. We could talk to you all night. So
to you all, boys.
Get the sausages ready for the barbecue. We'll see you there.
I will, mate.
See you soon.
Barbecuing in me pants and me beard now.
See you later, Si.
Cheers, guys.
Craig, we can't just get rid of the guests like that. See you later.
See you. You said your bit. Go away. Done.
Terrible. Right, we've now got Steve with us. Steve, so sorry for keeping you waiting, Steve. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you? Good evening.
Very
everyone.
good. Steve, you've probably heard it's been a very, very positive show. How are you feeling?
Oh, excited. Really, really excited. So, yeah, looking forward to Wednesday. Going to the stadium. So, yeah, it's going to hopefully be a great night to lift that trophy. So, how are you all feeling?
Who's going to score the winning goal, Steve?
You know what? I think Mikey Moore's going to come on and score that winning goal. I think it's written in the stars, Mikey Moore, just to come off the bench and bag that winner.
That'd be
That's
good.
what I do believe. It'll be just written in the stars for him to do it. So, yeah. But yeah, how are you all feeling?
We're all very positive. I think that everyone is being positive, and like I keep saying, that I feel like there is normally a balance on this show. And do you know what? Is it worrying the fact that every single one of us is saying we're going to win? Every single person that has come on here tonight has said we're going to win. Is that a worry?
No, because I think we're due to win the trophy, aren't we? It's been so long, isn't it? So now we're in a final, and like I think it's just written in the stars that it's ours this year. You know, despite the fact we've had a poor league season, I think this is our moment to lift that trophy and just change the narrative around our club, and then see what we can do for next season. So, but I think Anne should stay if we win it. So it's a 4-year project, isn't it? He's only 2 years in, and he lifts a trophy with us. It's got to be successful already, isn't it? So.
Steve, we've kind of been joking since the beginning of the season. We'd take a 17th place finish, but a trophy, and now there's a distinct possibility that could happen.
Well, hold on. I don't know about 17th, but I know a lot of people said mid-table. I don't think a lot of people said 17th.
No, a couple did.
No, I remember it too, Craig.
I did, yeah. Some people did.
You don't need to stick up for him.
Where East London boys stick together. See,
yeah.
You know, yeah. You know what I mean? It's no, but does that bother you, Steve? Would it bother you if we won a trophy where we finished in the league, or you just like, we won a trophy, so what? We're in the Champions League.
I think, to be honest with you, the league form's been not great for a long time, isn't it? Since what you could say January, I suppose. So the league's been dead for a long time. But you know, we're in a final of a major competition. You know, first European trophy for 41 years, and like you said, we've got pedigree in us. You know, so yeah, I think no, it would. I mean, nobody likes to see their team in the position they're in, but if we can lift that trophy, guys, then you know, and go to that parade and celebrate, and you know, it'd be great. It'd be absolutely fantastic. So, yeah. So
Steve,
you going to the stadium?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was going to ask you that. You're going to the stadium on Wednesday. Did you go to the stadium last time when we were in the European final against Liverpool in the Champions League 2019? No,
I watched it at home. So, yeah, it wasn't a great night, was it? So, you know, but I think, yeah, no, do you know what? I couldn't go. I was gutted I couldn't go to the semi-final. I really was, because they were only allowing one ticket per person. So I was just like, well, if I can't experience it with my son, then I'm not going to go. But literally this time, I bagged 4 tickets, and I'm going to be going, and I'm going to be sitting in the padded seats in the West Stand.
I bet you're pleased though, Steve, that they're actually putting the big screens on the pitch now.
Yeah, but when I booked my tickets, the whole thing was, oh, they're not going to do that. So I was like, what's going to be the best place to watch the big screens?
Yeah.
And then they decided to put the big screens on the pitch. So, yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it, guys. I really am excited. So hopefully I can get to see Craig before the game as well. So that'd be good for all the lads and stuff. But yeah, do you know what? Let's do it. Let's bring it home.
Yeah, well, I'll have to wave at you because we're in the other stand, Steve. So we're right around the other side. So I'm sure I might be able to see you from the other side. So, but
well,
yeah,
a great feature though, Craig, about the stadium is that you can meet anywhere, wherever you are in the stadium, you can walk around. You
certainly can. Yeah. I think we're actually where the away fans normally are. So in the obviously safe standing. I'm sure the stewards are not going to force people to sit down all night unless, of course, you want to. But yeah. Steve, so are you feeling nervous about it? I know you hinted at it earlier. Are you feeling more nervous or less nervous than you did in the Champions League final?
I'd probably be feeling more nervous on the actual day as kickoff comes around, and stuff like that. But then, you know, I think I'd probably be more nervous on the Wednesday. But I'm excited at the moment. So it'd be great, wouldn't it, if we do it, you know, and lift that trophy. So
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Steve,
sorry, go
on. What are you going to say?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to say, Ricky, my daughter says hello to you. She's a big fan of yours.
What's her name?
Katie.
Katie, sending you big love, sweetheart. Come on, you Spurs, and make sure that you get your dad a beer to celebrate on Wednesday, all right? Because Wednesday, the 21st, we break the curse, all right? So sending you big love. Mwah.
This is exactly what it's like going out on a night out with Ricky Norwood, you see, because someone comes up with him and says, "Oh, my wife is a big fan of yours," or "my sister," or whoever, and he's standing there doing about 25 video messages for everyone who comes up. He's we don't ever get anywhere, do we? Love it.
Can we make sure that if we win this thing, like you say, Ricky doesn't do it in his pants?
No, I can guarantee that ain't happening, bro. I might have nipple clamps on, but the pants will stay, the
Oh my
pants
God.
are staying on.
But apparently don't wear pants, do you, Ricky?
No. I mean, it is a Wednesday, and Commando Wednesday is normally the day that, you go Commando.
You're going to change your name to No Pants Norwood then, mate?
It depends. If I do it every week, then it becomes a thing, and then it can become part of the name, But it's a special occasion, bro. So right now we're gonna keep it Commando, and then we might be able to switch it over in the future. If we keep getting to cup finals, then it can become a feature, bro.
Oh yeah,
come on.
Do you know what? I think we've been speaking about you wearing or not wearing pants more than we've spoken about Vicario in goal tonight.
Steve, can I ask, if we win the final, can your dog do a celebratory song for us for the final? And
I will make sure he's actually here and he's been quiet all night. He's him.
There you go. See, if people don't know this, Steve's dog is a singer. He actually sings. So he's going to do a special song for us, isn't he? If we win, that'd be good.
Steve's dog gave him the side eye. He was like, "Mate, can you? I'm trying to rest. Like, I'm not playing tonight. Can you not? Like, he's a proper side eye."
During the amount of times I've come on this fan show and he's made noise and he's taken over and stuff, it's it's crazy. He's even more, But yeah, it's Do you know what, guys? Let's do this. Let's bring it home.
Come on.
2025 is our year, And I'll definitely be going to that ribbon parade if we get there. If we do it,
We hope to see you there, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us, and
No problem,
so sorry for
Dave.
keeping you waiting.
No. Enjoy yourself, Chris, and everybody else, all the Spurs fans out there. Let's do this and let's celebrate our team winning the trophy.
Thank you, Steve. Speak to you soon.
No problem, guys. Take care, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. You little driver. Au revoir.
It's because I was watching Fools and Horses earlier.
We've had Uncle Albert on earlier.
Oh, Cy Fox.
And when you done it, mate, I was cracking up. Oh.
A girl!
Right. We've got our last guest on of the evening, and it's William. William, how are you?
I just picked up a shovel.
William? Hey!
William,
Hello.
you're live on the show.
My bad, sorry.
What? Well, the first question is, what are you doing with a shovel?
I've got a Call of Duty partner, so obviously I picked up an item in the game. So, I apologize.
Was it Call of Duty?
That could have been so much worse.
Yeah, Call of Duty, I was in the middle of playing that thing.
Oh,
the way to make an entrance.
Yeah.
William, as long as you're not burying anyone.
Oh, fucking hell.
How
are you feeling right now as a Spurs fan, William?
I'm good. I mean, obviously, I saw you guys at the semi-final, and I was positive then. When we were at Bodo's ground, I was like, get it over the line. And when I saw Pedro's goal go in, I was like, right, that's done. But I'm feeling positive, but I do have my worries just because it's Manchester United, and you know what they're like with the referees and everything, how they what the red or the green most of the time.
Steve,
William, what game was you playing?
Call of Duty.
What was it?
Call of Duty Warzone.
I thought it was Call of Duty. I could tell he was locked in. Go on, Craig.
Yeah. I had like one ear off, like one part of the head, so I can hear, but obviously concentrating, I didn't expect it. So
Listen,
my
William,
apology.
when Chris makes you wait 20, 30 minutes to get on, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's all right. Don't worry.
Ricky, Ricky, you've never waited 20 or 30 minutes for anything.
Well, that's true.
William, who you playing? Are you playing in that front line on Wednesday?
Sorry?
who are you playing in that? Who are you
On
playing
front
in
line,
that front?
what for Spurs? I would say Solanke, Son, and Johnson.
That's what I said. Yeah.
I would have said Richie because I was skeptical when I saw the lineup of Bodo, but I thought Richie actually played well both games. Like it kind of shocked me. It's like he looked up for it. So I think maybe, obviously, you guys spoke about people coming off the bench. I think maybe if he has that little bit of fire in his stomach, he could be one of them.
What about the midfield? Any surprises for you in the middle of the park, or?
The only, I would just say Bentancur, Sarr, and Basuma. That's probably our best bet as midfielders go.
Okay.
But obviously, we haven't got really the creativity at the moment, so I would say those three in the midfield.
William, the big question is: do you think we're going to bury Manchester United?
Yeah, we'll bury them, and I'll bring that shovel from the game over and fill the grave in for them.
William, last question for you: what's the score prediction going to be?
I will hopefully say 2-3 now.
Brilliant. I'll tell you
I
what,
love how you call a spade, William. I love it.
Spade, shovel, one of those things, and yeah.
I love how everyone has been so positive tonight. William, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the near future, and hopefully when we've won the Europa League.
Hopefully,
and even if we're losing Wednesday,
Ricky quickly. My mum was she loved EastEnders, and I stopped watching it, but she loved watching EastEnders, so obviously know you from it, and I like that. How did they let you wear the Tottenham scarves, the hats, and gloves on set? Because
Well,
I remember those, and I'm like, how did they get away with it?
So it was very strategical. So when I went in there, the first thing they asked me was like, when I got the contract, they was like, do you mind being called Fat Boy? And I was like, no, because all I cared about was the part, right? I was like, no, it's fine, no worries, right? They was like, okay, Ricky, anything else? I was like, there's only one thing. I said, the Fat Boy can't be West Ham because EastEnders have an affinity with West Ham and some Gooners as well, but I was like, he's not going to be West Ham. He's going to be Tottenham. There's more London teams than West Ham. And I get it, that EastEnders and East London and West Ham makes sense. Yeah. But I was like, Fat Boy is like, he's Tottenham. So I planted it from the beginning that the character was Tottenham. Now, when it came to sneaking it on set, it first came when it was a cold day, and when I get cold, I get really cold. It hits me, right? Yeah. So I always used to have Tottenham gloves. And one day, the costume lady, she was like, you know what, Rick? Because I was about to take them off to go for the take. And she goes, you know what, Rick? You can keep them on if you want. And I was like, yeah? And she's like, yeah, no worries. And I was like, okay, cool. And as soon as I got them on, that becomes continuity. Now I've got an excuse. Like, now I've got an argument. I can go, but wait, whoa. I wore this in the last episode. So that's how that came in. I brought the scarf in as well. But I was the one that was bringing it in little bit by little bit. And then they caught on. And then they started getting me, like, Christmas jumpers and T-shirts and stuff like that. But, yeah, I was the one that brought it on. And also, Jamie Foreman, who used to play one of the Brannings, but big time movie star. Jamie Foreman is a proper Tottenham fan, And when he saw me doing that, he was like, right, that's it. And so he brought flags, scarves, plates, the lot, and he decorated the set with a ton of and the Tottenham robe as well. So I couldn't leave it alone, William. I had to bring it with me, bro.
Good.
William, can I just say, even if we're losing Wednesday, believe, right? Don't throw in the trowel.
Oh, yeah. He's been sitting on that for ages.
Sitting laughing.
And he's been laughing at his own joke before he's even delivered it.
I'm done.
Oh, mate.
Oh my God.
William,
But William, send love to your mum for me as well. And always it's great to speak to you on this beautiful podcast.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Do you want to do William's mum a message?
Sending you big love. All right. And come with the Spurs on Wednesday.
She's not with us anymore, but I'll take that as like she's looking down. So yeah, thank you.
Well, it's always there, bro. She's sitting up there with Mrs. B. Do you know what I mean? So no worries. They're probably having a cup of tea and they'll be watching Tottenham on Wednesday.
Yeah, thanks very much.
No worries.
William, thank you so much. I'll speak to you soon.
Greg, thanks very much.
William.
Cheers.
Come on, Spurs.
Come on.
Come on, you Spurs. God, did I just put my foot in it then?
I mean, that must be the greatest call we've had. That was the way that it started. I didn't know what was happening. Craig was gone.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Oh my God,
Ricky, I know this is the first fan show that you've done. What have you made of it? Because normally, like I said, the podcasts, especially this season, have been very, very, very serious at times. They're very different shows, these, aren't they? When we get guests on from all around the world.
No, it's been beautiful. Do you know what I mean? It's like, this is what is great about the podcast. Not only for me, right? But you guys, our little crew being together and having a Tottenham community and then sharing that community around the world, I think is a beautiful thing. And being on a podcast like tonight where we can just crack joke and we can love our team and we can talk about, the possibility of glory come Wednesday and kind of be in it and be in a positive space. It's been lovely, man. So a big thank you to everyone around the world that has jumped on and every fan in the country that has jumped on, everybody that has jumped on and just kind of shared tonight. It's been a great show and I've giggled so much. And I was only supposed to be on for 10-15 minutes. Chris was like, 10-15 minutes, bruv, 10-15 minutes. And I thought it was ending at 9. But then look what happened. I get on.
I know.
And we go again. Do you know what I mean? But it's been, I really appreciate it, man. And it's been great to do this with the both of yous and the brilliant fans around the world. They're what make this show. Do you know what I mean? If it wasn't for them guys, we'd still be doing it just for fun. And, so a big shout out to not just them, but the viewers as well. The ones that couldn't jump on, but those that view tonight, big thank you, shout out to you guys and all those that commented and share and follow and subscribe and all of that jazz. It's been a fantastic one. I've really enjoyed it.
And a big apologies to a lot of the guys that actually came on, waited in the green room, but because they were there for so long, they had to then go offline. So big apologies to you and thanks so much for your effort for actually coming on. Or trying to come on, but we just had so many guests on this evening, so apologies about that. Right, before we say bye to both of you and finish with your score predictions for this final, Ricky, I do want to ask you that question because I know you are very, very passionate and you're very, very good at motivational speeches. So if you had the chance 10-15 minutes before the game to talk to these players, to look at every single one of them in the eye, what would you say to them?
I mean, I know I'm kind of known for it, but I will tell you, it's not something that I try to do or tap into. It's just the way that I speak. It's just the way that I see life and that I speak. So if I was there and I got to stand in front of that fantastic team wearing that lily white kit, with the cockerel on it and their hearts thumping just before they go out to play the biggest game in Tottenham's history in a long while and the most important game in our history, full stop. I would just have to tell them, or just say to them, you know what we've been through, not just this season, every season. You know what we go through. You know the jokes. You know the ridicule. You know you know that it's an easy thing to. Am I cutting out because my battery's about to die?
Well, Rick, I'll say this. Darren Altman has just said that perhaps you should say you have to dig deep.
Oh, fantastic, Altman, fantastic. But you know what I would do is I would go along the same lines as Jim a bit earlier. You know, you go out there and play with your heart, but have composure, have your head amongst it. Make sure that you're aware of you and the players around you, your teammates and everything. But go out there and shut everybody up. Go out there and let all the frustration from this season and from seasons past, let it all out on that field. You know, go play the best game that you can possibly play. Let everybody be gobsmacked by the Tottenham that turns up, and go and be a hero. Go and be a hero. Go and be a legend. Go and crown this journey with a fantastic trophy, and that can send us on to the next level. But for all in all, Sonny, my friend.
I think we've lost him. And Craig, are you still with us?
I am. I was on mute listening to Rick, but I think we've lost him. I think he's. But look, we've unearthed some great guests tonight.
We have indeed. And Darren Altman's still going. He said, plant one in the top left corner, bury the ball in the bottom right-hand corner, and tackle Harry Maguire. Old shovelhead. Honestly, what a way to finish. And that is the only way to shut Ricky Norwood up from giving us a very, very long speech. You know, his battery's gone.
Absolutely.
Craig, I always say these are my favourite shows to do because we speak to so many people from all around the world. We speak to so many interesting people. But what has been quite remarkable today, and I did actually expect a few fans coming on saying that it is going to be a difficult game, and I did actually expect a few fans to say they thought that, you know, Manchester United may even win this game. But every single person, 100% of the guests tonight, even us, are saying that we're going to win this game, we're going to lift this trophy. But as I say again, you know, big thank you to everyone who has come on. It has been a really, really good show. I know we're 3 hours 40 in, so big apologies about that. I actually have to leave my house in just over 4 hours to catch my flight, which is a very, very early morning one. So I am off to bed now, but thank you so much for joining me, Craig, for this nearly 4-hour podcast. I know you've got to go to work early in the morning. What have you made of the fan show tonight?
It just tickled me because my son came to the door and he went 2, as in you knew it was going to be 2 hours. Because I said, oh no, it's going to be 2 hours between 7 and 9, and they all went to me, you know, it's not going to be 2 hours because we just knew it wasn't going to be tonight because a load of people wanted their thing, you know, to have their say. But yeah, no, it's a really, really brilliant show, and I think I've said everything I need to say on it. Really brilliant guests tonight, and we're all just praying and hoping for a victory on Wednesday. So a safe trip to every Spurs fan that's going out there. Hope you get there in the myriad of different ways we've been hearing about. You making your journeys. I know people driving down. There's people I know driving to Bordeaux and then having a couple of nights in Bordeaux or night in Bordeaux and then carrying on the journey. There's people flying into Barcelona like yourself and going on from there. People flying in from all over the world. So good luck to all of you, and we'll see you again soon.
Craig, thank you so much for all of your continued work on this podcast, on this show, on this channel. You're absolutely brilliant. So thank you. Enjoy your evening with Gary and Darren and co. And I know you're going to be meeting Steve as well. So enjoy the stadium. I'm sure a number of Spurs fans will come and say hello to you at the stadium as well. Really looking forward to my trip to Bilbao. It is going to be 2 planes, one to Barcelona and then Barcelona to Bilbao. But as I say, really looking forward to it. And one thing that we perhaps haven't spoke a lot about this evening is the fan base, you know, being really united for this game, for this final, despite all of those league defeats, the poor performances, etc. But like I've kept saying all evening, and like I will keep saying until the until the game kicks off, we're 90 minutes away, you know, from glory, 90 minutes away from a trophy that is so overdue at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So let's hope that this is going to be our time. Let's hope that this is going to be our year. For those of you going out to Bilbao, just sing, support the team, get behind Ange Postecoglou, and let's hope that we will be glorious and beat Manchester United Wednesday. Thanks so much for all of your incredible support, everyone listening to the show, either on audio platforms or on X, Facebook, or YouTube. Really proud of all of the stats that have come out in the last couple of days as well. Us being the most listened to and watched Spurs channel on YouTube, really proud of those stats. But of course, when a number of fans get involved, it's all about you coming on, giving us your opinions. And if you'd ever like to get involved in a future fan show and come on, talk to me, Craig, and the others and the other regulars who are on here week by week, feel free to email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It'd be great to talk to you. Anyway, enjoy the final, everyone. As I said, let's hope that we are glorious and lifting that Europa League trophy on Wednesday. Have a great one. Come on, you Spurs.